Oh, music. Good morning, bro. How you doing? How you doing? Yeah, trying to get some shit set up. See if we can get some painting done this morning. I got coffee, but I feel hungry already. But I don't know what I want to have for breakfast. I need to. Uh, this is earth shattering. Trump calls for cutting military budget in half. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's why I've been telling everybody, yo, the military budget, bro. We spend so much on our military, man, and it's only because we have these permanent military installations all over the fucking world that we don't really need. Like we are the last empire, and we need to shut that shit the fuck down and stop housing troops all over the fucking world, dictating shit in other countries. Damn, what do I want to eat for breakfast?
Cut our military budgets. Not kidding. You want to hear him? Here's going to
One
say
of the
it.
first meetings I want to have is with President Xi of China, President Putin of Russia, and I want to say, let's cut our military budget in half. And we can do that. And I think we'll be able to do it.
Oh,
That's big. Yeah, so how much of that does go to military research? Um, that's a good question, but bro, my thing is how much smarter can you make a missile? How much more supersonic can you make a jet? How much more efficient can you make a bullet? How much more optimized can you do night vision goggles? Like, are we at the the pinnacle of our military might and capabilities? How much bigger can a cruise destroyer be? I mean, like we have everything. We don't need to keep making things bigger and better and more destructive, more easy to kill people. I felt that way for so long, for so long. Can we just like stop making new guns? We don't need to design new guns. We don't need to design new missiles. Like just stop making weapons of death. Yeah, we don't need to continue into the military research like we are. Uh, AI and robotics. That's the new wave. We don't need stealth B-2 jet fighter bombers, all this shit no more. We don't need millions and millions of Black Hawk helicopters. We don't need that shit, man. We got little unmanned drones and planes and robots now. So that's where the bulk of our research can go. A lot of and then the main thing that I believe is that most of it goes to a black military budgets that even the government doesn't know about, and they just sit there for 75 years. They do all this research on shit to say, oh, we have figured out anti-gravity using fucking mercury, using electrolyzed mercury in a gyroscopic nature, and we can defy gravity. And then they'll sit on that shit for 75 years, 100 years, and never do anything with it. Never. So it's like, I don't, man, fuck the military budget, man. Fuck that shit. Cut that bitch in half. We spend way, way too much money on our military. And if you close down some of the permanent military installations globally, we have over 280. If you close down 200 of them and maybe kept about 80, 75 in like really hostile areas where the people in those countries truthfully request, America, please don't leave. Can you please stay here? Because these other motherfuckers be acting crazy and we like it when you're here. Now, for those countries, we can stay. And then all of the budget that we cut for everything else, that can go towards projects that are in the books, that are logged into the system that we know about. Not deep black projects that never go anywhere and just sit on the shelf for 75 years. Yeah. But that's the thing though. If China has a better AI, do we need better missiles? Do we need better tanks because they have a better AI, or do we need a better AI? And like you said, that's going to change how we spend our money. I don't think we need to make more giant physical stuff. Of course, we need better America, motherfucker. It's goddamn America. Bigger, better, everything, bitch. All the time. Just got to make it better. I don't know. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm either going to have a bowl of cereal for breakfast, which would probably make me cold, and I don't want to drink cold milk. Or I could do classic apples and peanut butter. I don't fucking know what I want to eat. I'm getting hungry though. You know, maybe let me meditate on it. And then the hunger will tell me exactly what I need to do.
Whoa! I mean, seriously.
One of the first meetings I want to have is with President Xi of China, President Putin of Russia, and I want to say, let's cut our military budget in half. And we can do that. And I think we'll be able to do it.
Yo, this dude is wilding, yo. Yo, Trump is wilding the fuck out, yo.
Get the best sleep of your life when you shop the President's Day mattress sale at Raymore Flanagan Sleep Center, or choose interest-free financing with no.
This is why nobody wanted him, the Republicans and Democrats. Nobody really wanted this dude back in power. This is why we know, like, this is really, really organic. And I don't like I don't like a lot of shit he's doing. But then a lot of the other shit he's doing is like, fucking right on, bro. Right the fuck on, bro. And say that shit in their fucking faces that we can cut our military budget in half and we will still be a powerful nation that has the capability to defend ourselves, not to impose our will and democracy on every other nation. But all we need to do is have the ability and capability to defend ourselves. And we can do that with half the fucking budget. And I'll go talk to fucking China and I'll go talk to Russia. And I'll tell these guys, look, man, the nuke shit is over. This AI shit is about to rock the whole fucking world. Globalism may not be the proper term for it, but we need to fucking agree on some shit right now. The biggest players, we're not about to try to doom us all into oblivion. Can we have some common sense tactics here? Russia, we know you are the world's nuclear power. I ain't trying to fuck with you on that shit, bro. China, we know y'all got the fucking AI shit. I ain't trying to fuck with y'all on that shit neither, man. We just want to do our shit, bro. You know? And we gonna cut our budget. And we not trying to fund all these proxy wars and do all this other dumb shit. Something that the Democrats would never do. And now I can't wait until I can see some clips from CNN or somewhere else, C-SPAN, the fallout behind this statement. Oh, he wants to cut our military budget in half. And that would leave us open to terrorism and da 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 da. Man, look, these motherfuckers gonna get mad about anything this motherfucker say, yo. Laughing girl, good morning. Yo, super controversial, yo. But I like everything he's saying right here about our military, yo. You know what? I almost joined the military. I was going into the army. I was 19 with no real direction in life. And I figured that I was too poor to go to school, but maybe if I go to the military, they can pay for an education for me. So that was my strategy, is just to use the military as a way to get a free education. And so I went through the first preliminary rounds of, just signing up and then saying, oh yeah, you could qualify for the first round, and then, go through your physical, and then like, yeah. So you qualify for the next thing, and then go through, like, I think there's a second physical, and then you have to take the ASVAB test or whatever and go through all of that. And then you get sworn in. So I was 2 weeks from getting sworn into the military. Passed everything. And then 9/11 happened. I saw that shit happen live on the news that day. And immediately I knew, like, oh, they're saying this is a terrorist attack. We're going to war. And I didn't want to go to war. I don't want to be in a combat zone. I don't want to be in an active fire, but I don't want to go kill people. And so on that morning of September 11th, 2001, I said, oh, I'm not going to the military. And my recruiter called me for weeks after that. I just never answered the phone for him. I'm not about to go to the desert and step on some landmine. Are you fucking crazy? I'm good on that shit. So I've always, like, been very skeptical and apprehensive about military. I don't really like it. Next, I have tons of military personnel in my family, and a lot of them actually encourage me to go to the military, and it's just like, nah, I'm good. I'm so good. I'm so good on that. Yeah, and I've been like that for my whole life. Like, I just never thought, like, war was a good thing, or going to other countries to kill people for whatever American interest. So yeah, cut our fucking military in half. Do that. Let's do that. Yo, Alex, good morning.
Will we still be way larger than them?
Yes.
If everybody goes down by half?
So Arnaud says, this is without a doubt the most extraordinary proposal I've heard a United States president make in my lifetime. Arnaud says, this is without a doubt the most extraordinary proposal I've heard a United States president make in my lifetime. It would be literally good for everyone, except warmongers in the military-industrial complex, which is why they'll probably try to assassinate him again.
And anybody that is against that, that's how you know.
Yo, Trump said he wants to cut our military budget in half, which means even if we cut our military budget in half, it will still be larger than every other nation's military budget. What we spend on our military, like the next top 3 countries combined, they have to combine all of their shit to equal our budget. We spend so much money on our military, bro. So much money. People don't really realize the bulk of our GDP goes to the fucking military. Our gross domestic profit goes to our military, bro. And they say, oh, because, we're the global leader and we have to defend ourselves and promote democracy. And so that's why we need a robust military. And they word it in a way where it makes sense. But when you do the math and look at the numbers, bro, we spend way too much on our military. Way too much. More than the next top 3 nations combined. Come on, man. We can cut that shit somewhere. And even if we cut it in half, our budget will still be bigger than Russia's military budget or China's military budget. And China has the most people in the fucking world. 3/5. I think 3 out of every 5 people on the planet is fucking Chinese. 3 out of every 5 people on the planet is Chinese. And we still have a bigger military budget than they do. Wendy, good morning.
A lizard person.
Yes.
I'm not saying that's science, but it is how you know.
It would be and incidentally, it's probably the only way for the United States to have any hope of balancing its budget, given that such a huge share of federal expenses are related to defense.
How in Ukraine half the money went missing? Well, I'll bet more than half of that goes missing in our bloated budget.
That's right.
I'll bet we're not even as honest as Ukraine.
Well, we can't. The Pentagon hasn't passed one audit. It failed 3 in the last couple of years.
Yeah. But how come all these things where they have no oversight, they end up being a disaster? It's very strange.
Isn't that weird?
I don't know how that can work.
That's what Glenn Greenwald says. Those who failed or refused to see the massive opportunities from this Trump-led realignment and instead enslaved themselves to the broken, ossified, unimaginative status quo perpetuating Democratic Party are some of the dumbest people on the planet.
Say it again.
Smarter,
Louder for the
more
people in
honest
the back.
leftists around the world can see this and give Trump the credit where it's due. The only ones who refuse are the media liberals who built their life and brand in enslavement to the Democratic Party and can never see or acknowledge it. Also, the fucking morons who tweet at me on Twitter. There's those people too.
They're not enslaved to the Democratic Party. They're enslaved to the military industrial.
I gotta hear
Yeah,
that.
I don't know how that can work.
I gotta hear that part again. But we've been working on the plaid shirt that she's wearing. So we kind of did this shoulder area, and then we jumped down to like underneath the book right here. So, because I want to kind of keep going this way with it instead of like going and then coming back this way. So I want to like scooch this over and kind of walk it all over that way like that. Like I say, the trees and everything else is really wet. I really wanted to try to knock that background out first, but we just gotta be patient, wait for that to dry. So instead, we're just moving forward with the shirt. We got a first detail layer on. All right, you guys might get dizzy, but I'm gonna spin this camera to get some of the kinks out the cord real quick. All right, my bad. My apologies. That cord was kinked up. Yeah, we got the first detailed layer on her skin. It looks nice and soft now. Even started to get some shadows getting in there nice. So the final detail layer, I think it'll be real easy because this layer right here looks so good already. So when we come back to add that little bit more contrast, she has her eyelashes are really long too. So I don't know, they cover most of her eye. Can I not sign in? What the hell? See how her eyelashes are? So I don't know if I really want to translate it that much, but and she's also wearing a nose ring that I'll have to put in there. But you can see like her hair overlaps that brick back there. So that's why I really wanted to get the wall done first. And a lot of her hair overlaps this part of her shirt and, well, the t-shirt and the outer shirt that she's wearing. So that's why I wanted to get a lot of these details in first, because her hair actually comes all the way down to her hand. So most of this will be covered up, but you can still see some of it. You can still see some of it underneath and through her hair. So still wanted to lay those details down. And so yeah, we're kind of in this area now, and just want to bring this over like underneath her hand. It's going to be a lot of those little single stroke lines like that for texture and contrast. But I think that's what we're gonna kind of just focus on the shirt for today. I hate how this camera does take a long time to focus. I don't know if I'm past my 2 weeks for this thing. I doubt it. I keep telling myself, man, just go get a better one. Just take this back and be like, hey, I want to trade this in and just put that money towards a better camera. Like just put like maybe $50 more towards it. I don't know. If Wendy don't be hyping me up, she says super D duper. Hey. Yo, appreciate it. She is actually one of my coworkers now. She came into the organization as an intern in her senior year of college. She interned with us, and hey, she liked the organization so much that she decided to come on as an employee. And so yeah, that's her at work with us with the kids, but she's really good. So when she was interning, she was one of my assistants, and I had her helping with the STEM class. Like I said, she did a really awesome job with the STEM class, and so I don't know. She just was like, hey, I kind of like it here. I think I'm gonna see if I can get a job here. And I was like, that's what's up.
We're gonna take a break to run. Girl, don't speak slow.
Yeah. So like I said, she volunteered with us, not volunteered, but interned with us for a couple of months, and then she was like, I think I want to work here. I'm like, well, that's awesome, So she's not in my department anymore, but she is a employee now. And like she's just really young, smart, pretty. I said, hey, would you like to model for me? And she's like, model for you? I'm like, yeah, because I want to get younger people into the reader series. And she's Spanish. So always try to add, black and brown in my art. So yeah, younger people in the reader series is what I'm going for now. I got another one with this other like really pretty black girl. So we got so we got her for the reader series. This one right here gonna be too dope. Yeah. Can't wait to do that one. Some more Whisper series. Yeah, I got shit ready. It's gonna be one of our next paintings for the reader series. You know what I'm saying? Another young brother reading about some black art. You know? So we got most of the year. It's already February, and I feel like I can't get through this shit right here fast enough. Man, all the paintings I got lined up, I'm good for most of the year. No lie, yo. Like we got a lot of big paintings to work on. So I ain't even worrying about it. Oh yeah, Lauryn Hill is pretty as shit. All right. I think we're gonna start in like this square right here, maybe.
Here's what Glenn Greenwald says. Those who failed or refused to see the massive opportunities from this Trump-led realignment and instead enslaved themselves to the broken, ossified, unimaginative status quo perpetuating Democratic Party are some of the dumbest people on the planet. The smarter and more honest leftists around the world can see this and give Trump the credit where it's due. The only ones who refuse are the media liberals who built their life and brand in enslavement to the Democratic Party and can never see or acknowledge it. Also, the fucking morons who tweet at me on Twitter, because those people too.
By the way, they're not enslaved to the Democratic Party, they're enslaved to the military-industrial complex.
That's right.
That's Republican if the complex wants it. That's why Nikki Haley was a big favorite with these
That's
people.
right. They love Nikki Haley. That's exactly right. Good point, Kurt. So such deep cuts in defense spending would fundamentally reshape U.S. military posture around the world and face sharp pushback from U.S. contractors and lawmakers who would probably try to assassinate President Trump. Oh, that's not what it says. Whose states benefit from billions of dollars in defense spending every year. Trump's views also underscored how willing he is to upend standard foreign policy craft in Washington. Now, if you're a progressive lefty or anybody or MAGA, you should be cheering this on. And if you're not, you're brainwashed and you're brain dead. Made no secret of his desire for closer ties with Russia and China, two U.S. adversaries. He sparked an uproar this week by having a phone call with Putin to start talks on ending the Ukraine war. U.S. allies in Europe said any such talks must take place with Ukraine's participation. This is from Bloomberg, by the way. Far from certain that China or Russia would agree to such cuts given how the U.S. defense spending is about $850 billion. It dwarfs their annual outlays. China was forecast to spend about 230 billion on defense in 2024. We're spending 850 billion. We're spending like 3 times as much as China is on defense. Why? Because there's more corruption in our
3
military
times.
industrial complex in the United States than there is in China's politicians. That's why.
Because you know what they do with their corrupt politicians? They shoot them in the back of the head.
That's right. Oh, China was forecast to spend 230 billion. 230 billion. That's like enough money to fund Israel for 15 minutes. Russia's 2024 defense budget has grown significantly since the start of the war in Ukraine, but was still about half that. The money against each other, and we could spend that money for better purposes if we get along, said Trump. Can you believe this? This sounds like Bernie Sanders. This is Trump.
Effective Bernie Sanders? What's going on?
This is Trump. Even Bernie Sanders wouldn't have the balls to say that. Believe me.
China is only spending that much in Russia on their military because we're spending
that much.
That's it. They have to
We've got
compete with us.
of buildup of new, weapons here. Because
That's
of that,
it,
who
yo.
would be against this?
Mitch McConnell.
Oh no, we're only gonna have 401 billion on the book.
Cocaine Mitch.
We're spending the money against each other, and we could spend that money for better purposes if we get along.
Duh.
We can all unite in the common belief that we don't care if we're poor. How about that?
Yeah.
Or as Don
Let's not
Corleone,
screw people that paid for products and didn't get them first, and then worry about them.
it's like Don Corleone. I've gathered the 5 families here.
Yeah.
Countries with the highest military expenditure, the United States. Look at that. Nobody even close.
Yeah, but we're spreading democracy.
Nobody even close.
Yeah, also, Russia is below the UK, by the way. They're about to win a war. We haven't won a war or even declared war since 1948.
Imagine spending that $801 billion in America every year. Every year, by the way. That's every year. Imagine if they spend $800 billion on infrastructure. We'd have high-speed rail everywhere. We'd have the best schools. We'd have the best subways. We'd have the best highways. We'd have the best
luxury
parks.
hotels for illegal immigrants.
Yeah, right. But yeah. But instead, we're spending $800 billion on war and sending it overseas
Almost like we're a shell company.
for other countries to launder it.
Yeah. You drain the wealth out of
Yes.
the company to the top company, and then you discard. So that's what we are. We're like a Boeing with the doors falling off. That's what America is now.
Russia, $65 billion. That's from this is by the way, this is from 2021. So Russia has up there. I think they doubled it since the start of their Ukraine war. So maybe it's like 40 billion.
Wow.
Look
How
at
much
how
does it take
little.
to get weaker? You know how we got real weak from all this military spending somehow?
Yeah.
And we wanted to weaken Russia, but somehow they got stronger. Is the key not spending all this money on your military because they're stealing it and they're liars and scumbags?
That is the key, Kurt. So Glenn Greenwald says those who there it is again.
Degree is important to me because I feel like I'm setting myself up for future success. The more I can learn and grow as a person and an athlete, the better and more well-rounded I'll be in whatever field I go into
Shut up.
next.
He says Ro Khanna, who is a very shifty MFer.
Oh, somebody has his blackmail file in their possession. I'm guessing it's the Trump people.
I'm guessing the Trump people have his blackmail file.
Because he's singing a different tune.
Because
on
he's totally
Patrick
switched his
Bet-Value
tune.
show.
Really?
Yeah.
He's on Patrick Bet-Value singing a whole different.
But so, when Max Blumenthal confronted him over him okaying the money for the Ukraine war, he said he called him a Russian. What are you, Russian puppet? You being paid by Russia? That's what he said. That's what Ro Khanna said.
Same
To
thing
Max
Bernie said.
Blumenthal. Same
All
thing Bernie said.
blackmail people say the same line.
So now Ro Khanna is being blackmailed by somebody else. I support the effort to find a trilateral agreement with China and Russia to mutually draw down bloated military budgets. We should not oppose efforts to reduce military spending and work towards peace just because it's proposed by Trump.
Oh,
Look at that.
The video must be in possession of somebody else now, is how I take that. That's Anna Kasparian, I believe, is genuinely stupid, but this guy, I believe, his blackmail pictures were transferred to New York.
I agree. Legal Blunder says Congress isn't going to let him do it. They're all bought and paid for by the weapons manufacturers. This is true. That is true.
Right.
At least the
But how are they
public,
bought?
at least the public will be able to see the military-industrial complex in plain sight. I'm so cynical.
Listen, I have a friend, by the way, down here, whose dad he went to West Point and he never made it past a certain rank because he would go, like, he'd go on conventions and stuff, and he'd get approached by women in hotels, and he knew it was to blackmail him, so he would never do it. And guess what? He never moved up. And he won't listen if you go, do you think there's a problem with the system? Because no, he won't even listen to that. So that's what that means. We all got blackmailed. The people that move up got blackmailed, and once the owner of their blackmail takes over, you're gonna watch him flip on every. What do you think Eric Adams is? Eric Adams is ratting out Letitia James and Alvin Bragg right now.
So let me just tell you, if a progressive or Bernie Sanders or Cornel West or Jill Stein, or if anybody had power like Trump has, and they just proposed this to cut our military spending with us, China, and Russia by 50%, they would carve him and put him on Mount Rushmore. There would be lefty progressive parades everywhere, trumpeting the person who said this. But since it's Trump, they're going to find something wrong with it. Since Trump, they're going to bend themselves in a pretzel. If it was anybody else in the world, they would be, yay! Come see us on tour. We're going to be in Baltimore, Hartford, Connecticut, Syracuse, Atlantic City, Levittown, New York, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.
Yo, Thomas, I really appreciate it, bro. Good morning. Thanks.
Live
Thanks
anywhere
for
here in the
compliment,
red
bro.
circled area on the map and you have an old struggling furnace or heating system, right now we have an offer going on where we can get you.
Yo, Jimmy Dore be dropping the beans on these people, man. and when I talk about some things at work sometimes, because like one of my other coworkers, she's really big into the political stuff right now too. And so we'll have conversations. She's like, "Well, where did you hear that?" I'm like, "On YouTube or on Instagram." Like, I don't watch TV. I don't have to watch like the news to get the news. I let somebody else watch the news who I trust, who I think can analyze it with a very honest and open perspective and opinion, and then just relay the highlights back to me. Just tell me what they got going on. Oh, this motherfucker trying to cut the budget. Been saying, yo, I wish. Well, I don't know. There has to be a clip of me saying that somewhere because I have been streaming for a long time, and I feel like I've been saying that for a long time. Like, oh, my bad. Mm,
So all I had to do was come into the courtroom and say what I had to say. I know how to present myself in the court. Sovereign. How do you behave as a sovereign? You behave as a sovereign by not getting so upset and ranting and raving and
Democrats have suffered another loss in court, this time to Elon Musk and Doge. Also, Hannah Bondi speaks out about why charges should be dropped for Mayor Eric Adams, and the media is continuing to lose it over RFK. We're going to get to all of this in this video, but let's start with what the judge had to say about Doge.
You know, a federal judge just handed Elon Musk's Doge a win ruling, and he can now access data to 3 government agencies. What more can you tell us about that? Because that is a hot topic this week.
Yeah, that's right. There was an attempt by some groups to essentially block Elon Musk from gaining access to sensitive information from some of these agencies, including the Consumer Financial Protection Board and the Department of Labor. A federal judge, though, ultimately handing down a decision that says that Elon Musk can get access to that information. Laura, this is just underscoring the power and influence that Elon Musk has in Washington. You're seeing a picture on your screen right there. He was in the Oval Office beside President Trump at the White House earlier this week. He's leading that Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, which has become a key priority for the Trump administration. So I expect we're going to be seeing a lot more and hearing a lot more from Elon Musk as these efforts continue to get underway.
All right, so now we're continuing to see the outcome of these lawsuits and how they are not on the side of Democrats, because all they can do is sue the Trump administration at this point. But on what basis? I mean, what President Trump is doing through executive order and the power vested within, he has the ability to order Elon Musk to go into these agencies and audit them. Democrats can do is, cry and scream that he has access to sensitive information. And you guys have heard me say this so many times. Man has a top secret clearance. So this is a huge win for Doge and a huge loss for the Democrats. Now let's hear another troubling revelation for that party, where the Judge Chutkan, who we know President Trump does not like, and she was involved in the Jack Smith case, here she is expressing her skepticism on the lawsuits as well.
14 states' attorneys general have hit a roadblock in their efforts to stop Elon Musk and Doge. The attorneys general argued that Trump violated the appointments clause of the Constitution by creating Doge, an unofficial government agency without congressional approval, and by granting Musk sweeping powers without seeking the advice and consent of the Senate. But federal judge Tanya Chutkan didn't seem convinced that the states showed enough evidence of imminent harm. At one point, Chutkan told a lawyer from the Maryland Attorney General's office, quote, "You're essentially asking me to shut down the government." The lawyer replied, "We're asking you to shut down a constitutional violation that we haven't seen in this country."
Yeah, so this reminds me of the Democrats and how they handle free speech, right? They say, no, we love free speech. We respect free speech. But hey, don't say that. That's misinformation. hey, don't allow that to be on your social media platform. That's misinformation, right? I mean, their problem is they're a walking contradiction, okay? They don't want Trump, Elon Musk, and Doge to audit the federal government, but they want a democracy. Want the government to work for the people, but they want to shut the government down. It just doesn't make any sense. And you know who else sees it this way? Swing voters out of the state of Arizona. The American people are not stupid, okay? They see what's going on here. But the Democrats don't want to accept that reality. Now, here's Fox News, the TV show The Five, talking about what these swing voters had to say about Doge.
We're seeing polling in Arizona from swing state people. Kennedy, they want them to keep going. They say keep cutting. They love it.
And it was actually a very interesting polling group because it was people who had voted for Biden in 2020 who then switched their votes to Trump in 2024 because Bidenomics, as was the case for most people in the country, it didn't work out for them. So it didn't work out for them because their taxes are too high, eggs are too expensive, people still are having a hard time at making mortgage payments and paying the rent and affording college and everything else. So now they're realizing where that hard-earned tax money is actually going. And the more we hear about $160 million going to a Canadian electric school bus factory that is now declared bankruptcy and never made good on their promise to deliver school buses, 100 million of them, to 55 school districts in the country, like that's where my money is gone. They actually want more of it because the feeling is if you cut out entire departments and if you shed sunlight on all of this waste and abuse, then maybe taxes will finally come down.
Yeah, but that's not how these blue states, their attorney generals, are seeing all of this. They see it as a threat. They see it as a harm on the citizens or the people who live in their state. That Elon Musk having access to this information will damage our democracy. And of course, we know that is all premature because what laws have really been broken at this point? Has Elon Musk or Doge or President Trump violated the Constitution? No, they haven't. So what they're really doing is wasting the court's time.
Let's read what Judge Chutkan said because it is. She seemed to express a lot of skepticism yesterday, and this is reporting from yesterday. Judge Chutkan repeatedly questioned what imminent harm the states were facing from Musk and Doge's work that would warrant an incredibly broad temporary restraining order. She also said that plaintiffs' use of words like perhaps and may when describing how states could be harmed by Doge's actions undercut their argument that irreversible harm was imminent. You're saying I should tell Doge and their officials to stop what they're doing because we don't know what they're doing, she said. And this is from Daniel Bars of NBC News.
Essentially, we're not in a constitutional crisis because I know that's what the Democrats want everybody to believe. This judge is clearly stating that you guys are getting ahead of yourself. You're asking me to do something that technically you shouldn't even be asking me to do. And the other thing here is what laws have they broken? I just said it, right? You can't really identify one. All this really is, well, we believe they will. Well, that's not going to work, of course. Now, let's go back to that whole constitutional crisis buzzword, because when you have Jon Stewart having to fact check you about that term, yeah, you know you guys have gone off a cliff.
We're in a constitutional crisis, and we very well may be. I'm not trying to downplay that reality. When you have a president, which seems to be what's happening, and an administration who are defying a court order, that is ignoring the one branch of government, that is technically, I think as lawyers would define it, a constitutional crisis.
Right. Well, then through an appeal process, like
There could be.
we're a little bit down the road, but
A
yes.
road to a constitutional crisis.
Okay.
How's that?
Okay.
That's what a press secretary does.
The
See?
road
We're
to
like,
constitutional crisis. Boy, if that's not a title of a Rachel Maddow special, I don't know what is.
well, there may be.
Yeah, so that is just sad that he has to correct her on that, given that she was a White House press secretary, and she obviously has her own show. But here's what's really damaging to them and their whole mindset, and why this is actually great news for people like you and me. The more the Democrats continue to double down on hyperbolic language, how they continue to choose extreme language in everything that they're reacting to, what they're doing is programming their base to clearly live in fear. But they're alienating the people in the center who clearly have the biggest impact on the elections, right? The swing voters. So they're not speaking their language, they're not relating to them. And we would love for them to keep doing this. Please don't change. Keep speaking this way, because that means that we will continue to win. And when I say we, I'm talking about common sense. Now let's just hear how demoralized they are at this point.
General, this reminds me so much of situations in which you bring concern, evidence, facts to an argument, to a case, and folks say, well, essentially, we got to wait till something bad happens before we do something. Which is why I think a lot of folks out here are beginning to express, as our friend Ellen Stahl we were talking about before, that the courts are not going to save us in this. That, with all due respect to the lawsuits, and that's great, they continue suing. At the end of the day, you're going to have judges who are going to parse, and they're going to, piecemeal. They're going to approach this from a appropriate judicial constitutional perspective. But do you get the sense that, and I know you're in a tough position when I ask this question, do you get the sense that, they don't get that this is, the house is on fire? It may not be burning in the room you're in, but the back porch is on fire.
All right, so what I see here is an individual who is having a hard time accepting that Doge hasn't broken the law yet, hoping that they would so that they can actually have a legitimate case to bring to the courts. If someone doesn't break the law, why are you wasting the court's time? That's what's happening here. Now, to improve my point even more about how pathetic they are, this takes us to the next story, which is this entire corruption case with Mayor Eric Adams and how they're trying to tie it to Trump. And even in the headlines, they're saying, yes, Trump ordered quid pro quo. Now, here is what Pam Bondi had to say, where she defended the decision to drop the charges against the mayor.
Listen, we have a right to protect the weaponization, against weaponization in New York and every state in this country, and also national security. What did Eric Adams announce today? That he's going to open Rikers Island for these illegal immigrants. When did they go after him? When he started criticizing the Biden administration, he criticized them for all of their immigration practices. New Yorkers aren't safe, and Eric Adams is going to keep New York safe. They took away his security clearance, which he's about to get back, so he can help keep New York safe. Whether Kathy Hochul's going to enforce it, the mayor of New York will enforce it.
So at this point, though, the case has not been dropped, actually, because of this pushback. What happens in that?
Yeah, Martha, I'm on a different time zone, but it's my understanding it is being dismissed today.
Jack, I'm telling you, Drag Kings is the best place to bet player props.
They got it all. First buckets, points, rejections.
You know what reminds me of? My favorite big from back in the day.
Really?
Yeah. Used to dominate the paint, scored at will.
And that dog.
Lisa, the dominant Leslie. I was just talking about you. Come on, Lisa, you got next. You're going to sit on the bench. Sit there.
With DraftKings, new customers turn $5 into $150 instantly in bonus bets. The crown is yours.
They're working on my free throws.
Now, as she stated, she claimed that the charges would be dropped. They were not dropped yet. In fact, it is being reported that they will be going in front of a judge to hear both sides, and then the judge will make a determination if the charges can be dropped or not. Now, speaking of a judge, here is a former district court judge who had an interesting take about all of this.
So, Judge Shedlin, I'm looking forward to hearing your insight here, given the role that you used to play as a judge, potentially overseeing something like this. How do you see Judge Dale Colby with this dismissal motion, considering the quid pro quo allegation in this case?
I think he's going to listen pretty hard to both sides, and he's going to have a lot of questions for everyone. I don't think he's simply going to rubber stamp this. I agree with Jennifer that it's going to be a pretty searching inquiry, because in her letter, Danielle Sassoon, she pointed out that it has to be in the public interest, and if it's not in the public interest, it shouldn't be dismissed. So he can question them and say, why is this in the public interest, or why isn't it in the public interest to let this go right now?
Now, in regards to public interest, it's very clear. If you live in New York City, you want the illegal aliens out. You want the criminals out. You want to stop seeing people burned on the subway. There's no question about that. And Mayor Eric Adams without the corruption charges, was already in trouble because of how much crime had skyrocketed and clearly the illegal migration crisis. So yeah, I think there's a lot of public interest out there to have him actually do his job. And if he can't do his job because you guys will indict him and try to put him in prison, then you should just go ahead and remove him from office, okay? Let's not keep him 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Now, I believe that's a common sense perspective on all this, but not the fake Reverend Al Sharpton. He believes it's President Trump who is the mayor of New York City.
But to your point, how do New Yorkers live in a city not run by its elected leader? You said and AOC says Adams must be removed. The city cannot sustain being governed for nearly a year by a mayor who's being coerced. I mean, who's running the city right now?
I think that's what the judge is going to have to answer, because right now, from the statement given to the court about why they want to drop these charges, Donald Trump's running the city right now. He's got to be available to work with the president. That's a quote on immigration. So the mayor at this point is Donald Trump.
Okay, so obviously we know that is not true whatsoever. President Trump is not the mayor of New York City, never will be. But what's worse than that is what CNN is up to. Now, what they're trying to do is prove that there is a quid pro quo just based on the interview with Tom Homan and Eric Adams on Fox and Friends that occurred yesterday.
I want to play what Tom Homan said today with his appearance on Mayor Adams on Fox. Here he is.
If he doesn't come through, I'll be back in New York City, and we won't be sitting on the couch or in his office, up his butt, saying, where the hell is the agreement we came to?
What is he saying there? Where the hell is the agreement we came to? If he doesn't come through, I'll be back in New York City.
Yeah, so he's basically, this is the quid pro quo. It seems like this is if you
take a bathroom break real quick.
Part of the agreement, I'm coming back to claim what we have, which is that we have submitted to the court that the case is still strong, and we're asking the court to dismiss it, but not to throw it completely away. It's still hanging
So we
out
can
there.
hang it like a sword.
Absolutely. So the concern is that it's not just weaponization to drop the case, it's actually weaponization to keep the case hovering above the mayor's head.
So he can continue to do what they want. It's an incredible moment that we are in. Thank you very much, Ryan.
And it doesn't take much. That's how CNN operates. You know, they take the clip, they turn that clip into a story that has nothing to do with the actual clip itself, but it sounds good. And if you're not willing to do your research, and you're not willing to actually watch the context within that clip, like that full interview, which clearly Tom Homan was not threatening him. It was coming on the back of the question that, hey, are you serious, Mayor Eric Adams, with working with Tom Homan? How do we know it's actually going to work between you two, et cetera, et cetera? But again, CNN, they're not going to play you that. And this also applies to what they refuse to tell us about Big Pharma and how much it's been killing American citizens, which is why they're continuing to run these hit pieces on RK, even though he's been confirmed and sworn in as the next secretary. And to give you an example of what type of rhetoric they're still continuing to push, which we will debunk here shortly, let's take a look at this clip from CNN this morning.
So he is the worst person for what is, I think, a really good and important message. And listen, I was at Fox for all of those conversations. I was there. I was doing it. I was saying, stop Bloomberg and Obama with the food police. I got that. I got that resistance. Problem is, he is not advocate for science.
So he's essentially going to make us healthier, and then we're going to die from whooping cough. Because of
Exactly.
It's like measles. Healthy, but dead. I think this, again, it's the same thing we just been talking about. A grain of truth. We don't want more. A grain of truth. Kids, especially poor kids, shouldn't have to eat crappy cheese and things full of chemicals. It doesn't really matter because that industrial complex is going to push back against it no matter what.
All right, so what they're failing to understand time and time again is that the reason why American people do not trust the government or are now questioning vaccines is because there hasn't been any transparency. When they start taking responsibility for that, they'll start to understand why people don't trust the government.
I think that RFK Jr. is here because the public has lost confidence in public health as a result of the pandemic, where things were obscured from the public, where things were oversold, like the vaccine, which, as you know, I'm a believer in vaccines, big believer, but the vaccine was oversold.
the issue of vaccine injury from it was undersold. I think there was a lot of obfuscation, and the public is reacting, of course, by electing President Trump and now by bringing in a reformer. And this reformer is saying a lot of things, Harris. First of all, he's saying, what are we eating? What's in our diet? Why aren't we exercising? Why are 44% of American adults obese? And more importantly, 20% of our children. And does that lead to chronic disease? He's been getting pushback on that. It does lead to chronic disease. I'm here to tell you the diseases I treat in the office are due to what we are doing in terms of what we put in our bodies and the way we are. So the idea, and then looking at the environment, the Make America Healthy Again Commission is going to look at what's in our environment, the microplastics, the ultra-processed foods, the food dyes.
It's not limiting at $5 million.
Robin Hood Gold members get a 3% high
And this will be an issue.
Why can't they understand that, Wendy and Laughing Girl, for people who live outside of the United States? Why is it so hard for us to understand diet? And on average, an American if you go to the doctor and you have whatever ailment and it's painful, the doctor is going to say, here, take this prescription to ease your pain, but it may cause this, and also this side effect. And then you would have to take a prescription to handle those side effects, which may cause this, and this side. And then it's this weird loop of putting a bandage on the issue and not treating the issue. And you will rarely hear a doctor here in the States tell you, hey, change your fucking diet. Hey, what are you eating? I find it to be one of the most asinine situations ever, where we really act like we don't understand why our level of obesity outranks most other nations. Hey, we're over here fat for no reason. You know? I never really understood it.
Democrats will lose on as well because of the way they're continuing to talk about it. They're not actually talking about the issue that parents really care about. They're talking about RFK. Just like President Trump and Elon Musk, Democrats are talking about Trump, they're talking about Elon Musk, but they're not talking about the fraud. And the average American out there, they're going to see right through that. And again, I'm not complaining here. Please just keep doing that. We want to continue to win here. So guys, trust me, I love all this. Now, speaking of President Trump and Elon Musk, they did an interview with Sean Hannity. It airs on Tuesday. They have released one clip of this interview so far. And I love it because it's about what the media it continues to fail at, which is to sow division between these two men. Watch.
They have many different things of hatred. Actually, Elon called me. He said, they're trying to drive us apart. I said, absolutely. They said, we have breaking news. Donald Trump has ceded control of the presidency to Elon Musk. President Musk will be attending a cabinet meeting at 8 o'clock. And I say, it's just so obvious. They're so bad at it. I used to think they were good at it. They're actually bad at it, because if they were good at it, I'd never be president. Because I think nobody in history has ever gotten more bad publicity than me. I could do the greatest things. I get 98% bad publicity. I could do, outside of you and a few of your very good friends, it's like the craziest thing. But you know what I have learned, Elon? The people are smart. They get it.
Yeah, they do.
They get it. They really see what's happening.
Yes.
Yeah, of course they get it, because it's common sense. And that's the age that we find ourselves in today. We're getting back to common sense policies, including Democrats who are calling for Elon Musk's contracts with the federal government to be canceled because they believe there's a conflict of interest.
I will tell you, just as a broader political matter, I do think the American people are giving this administration pretty wide latitude to shrink the size of the federal government. And doing so with probationary employees, meaning they haven't been there that long at all, strikes me as one good way to go about it, even if you occasionally trip into some mistake, like perhaps, I'm not saying they did, but perhaps they did on this particular agency.
There's plenty of places to trim it back in government, and I would certainly start with, maybe the $8 billion that Elon Musk gets from contracts with the federal government.
Well, number one, if I could just go back to something Naira said, before you start cutting all of Elon Musk's ties to the federal government, understand that we've asked him to rescue our 2 astronauts in outer space. So maybe don't take a meat axe to Elon's engagement with the feds until we get our astronauts home. Number one. Number two, the reason that they're moving fast is because momentum begets momentum. Trump created tremendous political momentum for this kind of change by winning the national popular vote and a real mandate in the Electoral College. He extended the momentum by having a really good transition. And of course, his first 3+ weeks in office, he's continued that.
So my question is, where was that energy for George Soros, or the energy for people who serve in Congress, who are on the board of directors on some of these companies who have contracts with the federal government? What about that? I mean, this is why it's so childish when Democrats speak this way. Like Elon Musk is this huge conflict of interest only because he's the richest person in the world. Why wouldn't we use someone who's that level of genius and that level of success to help us fix what's wrong with the federal government? I would think it's worth trying, but they've been trying to tear him down every single step of the way. And again, this is something they will lose on, and we want them to lose, because when they lose, that means we win, and that means most of Americans will win, because it's all based around common sense. Okay, now this last story for you here is really entertaining, okay, because this just shows you how impactful
My man,
Doge
Sketch.
has
Good
been
morning, bro.
in the Washington, D.C. area. It is being reported that since Doge began discussing map,
Bro, what do you think about all these major changes and cuts to the government that the Doge department is trying to do, bro? I just heard the first little bit of news I heard this morning was Trump said he want to cut our military budget in half. And I think that's fucking amazing, bro. I've been saying that. I swear to God, I've been saying that since I understood the military-industrial complex, and that's the reason it's able to exist as substantially as it is because we put so much fucking money into that shit, yo. If we cut our military budget in half, man, there would be so much extra money for us, the people, of the citizens, and not for the warmongers who only make war so they can keep making bigger profits. Yo, Trina, good morning. And it's like I don't understand why people. I don't understand why anybody is yelling the opposite of any of this and telling them to stop. You're trying to look into like sensitive information. Yes. Look into the sensitive information, please. I am enjoying this so much because last week they were like, oh, one federal judge says that they're gonna stop Doge from looking at the Treasury Department, and then it came back and it was like, nah, y'all can't do that. It's like, yo, they keep winning. Just tell us where the money's going. Wait, what y'all do with my money, man? And then, if we don't really need to spend that much money, then let's stop spending that much money and keep it here. Man, we can have the best roads, high speed rails, and we can invest way more into medicine and AI and robotics of the future and shit like that instead of fucking war machines and death and destruction. We could have been living like the fucking Jetsons if we would have listened to Nikola Tesla 100 years ago. But no, we want to just always take the technology and make it into a goddamn a war machine, a weapon. I don't think we'll never have no real like golden age. Not for a long time, but this right here seems like it seems just like common sense. What will this get us towards? I'm not exactly sure, but I ain't that fucking smart, man. I'm a high school dropout, you know? I'm a high school dropout. And but I think I got common sense. Okay, explain, because once again, I'm not very intelligent. So explain it to me in the simplest way possible. Okay, so what you're telling me is all of the money that we pay in taxes don't go towards the programs they're supposed to go to. And they're telling us where the money is going. I like that. That sounds easy. I can understand that. That's not hard for me to understand. Okay, so now keep explaining to me. Okay, so if we stop the deep state from funding programs that don't need to be funded, then the American citizens can keep and utilize more of their tax dollars for good programs. Once again, that makes sense. I like how that sounds. That's easy for me to understand. I don't see why anybody else would say no, stop doing that. Stop looking into the government. Stop exposing the waste. I don't see who can say that's a bad thing. And if you are saying that, then I don't know. Because once again, I'm not that smart and I can understand that. So if you can't understand that, it's like, Oh, now there's a lot of shit right there too. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Ever since, even before he was president, he says he's backing Israel. And it's like, but why? And it's like, but why, bro? Like, they're committing genocide, man. Why? And now he's like, nah, we're just gonna take Gaza Strip for ourselves and make it, a place for people of the world. That's very vague. And it's so vague, I don't like that. And why don't you just give Gaza to the people who are already there, the Palestinians, and have a two-state system? And not take it from them and make it a place for people of the world. That's very vague. No, I don't like that. I don't like the idea of fucking taking Greenland. I don't like the idea of annexing fucking Canada. He's trying to do like some expansionism shit, and I don't know. What's the last territory we took? Was it Puerto Rico? So we got Guam, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands. What else? Man, we already got enough territories. There aren't states. Like we don't we don't need more shit like that, man. We don't need to expand anymore. We don't need to expand anymore. And what he's trying to set up is contracts to rebuild, and that's it. Because they have leveled Gaza to the fucking ground. You know how long it's gonna take to rebuild that? That's 75, 100 years worth of rebuilding and reconstruction. And he wants to get American contracts in there to do it. That's what he wants. It's not to invite people of the world. No, you want to control, first of all, the resources that are there, because we found precious minerals and there's oil there. So that's one. That's what you really, really want, for one. And then you want to rebuild around that so you can have your mining and excavation going on, and then rebuild into some like smart city type shit or something. Clean up their swamp, but don't destroy it. Yeah, I mean, global governance and globalism and this shit it's not. This is fucking 4D chess. A lot of moving parts, and everybody has to work together and agree mostly on the bigger things. We all have to mostly agree on the bigger things, and that's very fucking hard to do. It is extremely hard to do, and any good leader of any country, I don't give a fuck what country it is, if you're the leader of your country, you should want what's best for your country, not right now, but into the future. You should try to place your country on a path into the future. And this is the thing that the average person, most people can't do. We can't think past a year. Some of us can't think past the next 6 fucking months. And so when you ask people, what are your goals for the next 5 years? They'll hit you with the Global leaders and global organizations have to think on a century scale. The next 100 years. I'm not going to be here in the next 100 years, but we have to think about where will our nation and where will our citizens, where will my grandchildren be in the next 100 years from now? And how can I see the world and implement certain policies that will push the world in the direction that will best benefit my grandchildren in the country that I live in? And any leader, any nation, that should be their main fucking focus. So I understand that part, but you don't have to like every aspect of it. And is taking over Gaza better for America? Yeah, I mean, in a way, I guess it would be. But at the same time, do we need that? Are we all agreeing on that? Or can we just leave it for the Palestinians so they can have their shit too? We don't need that shit, man. Oh, it's definitely value there, bro. The minerals, there's hella. I think they found way more oil deposits and some minerals in southern Gaza. They got some battery type shit over there, the zinc or the cobalt or whatever that shit is, bro. They got it, and they like, oh. You know, American interests. We have to protect American interests. What is American interest? Well, we found resources. You know what? We're gonna stop this. We're gonna stop this war over here in the Middle East. We're gonna bring peace to the Middle East, but we're gonna make this a place for the world. For world, I see people of the world living here. What the fuck does that mean? You're too vague on that one, bro. I get it. I'm with it on a lot of shit, but some of the shit I do be like, I'm trying to let it play out though. I'm trying to let it play out because still, I feel like most of the shit they doing is best for America. So, and this is where I live. I don't live in Gaza. I don't live in South Africa. I never have. Sympathies to these people. You know, at the same time, this is where I live. So it ain't fuck y'all, but I need to worry about me first, bro. I mean, when you go to the grocery store and you buy groceries, you don't stop at your neighbor's house and put some food in their refrigerator before you go home, do you? And if you do, that's very great. You're an honorable person. But I'm sure you don't do it all the time. You know? So I gotta feed my shit first, man. I gotta make sure my bills paid and my refrigerator got food in it first. So like once again, not it ain't fuck every other country, but it's like I don't live there. And you guys got your own governments and your own way of doing shit. Figure that shit out. I already said before, man, I'll shut everything down for a whole generation. For 25 years, we not letting nobody in and we not helping nobody do shit until we get our own shit together. 25 years of giving nobody aid. Let's see how this shit work out. Need to play a different game. So this game we've been playing shit since World War II, man. 1943, 44, whatever that shit was. We've been doing this. We've been on this path for a long time, man, and it's out of control. Since World War II. You know? And we ain't figured out a better system than just bullying people with weapons of death. And I'm saying, bruh. And I admit it, man. I voted for this administration, and I've always said that I don't vote because there is no administration that has ever given me 100%. Nigga, you don't deserve my vote. I don't agree with you on 100% of everything, man. And I've always felt that way. Just like, I'm just voting for the lesser of two evils. But I think this time around it's way different, and I still don't agree with this administration 100%. I already see that that's a logical fallacy. But I think it would have been tragic underneath a Harris administration. None of this shit would have been happening right now. None of it. None of this exposure would have been happening. None of this real restructuring. Like, I think there's a possibility to really restructure our government and take it back to more of a smaller federal government and let the fucking states run that shit. You need to elect you a very good governor of your state. The governor is the president of your state. Elect your own fucking presidents and run your states accordingly. and let the fucking federal government slide the fuck back into the position it was originally meant for. You don't like the laws in your states, vote against that shit, or vote your fucking state president out and put somebody else in there who's going to listen to the people of the state. And then if it's too complicated and too big, then you come to the federal level and be like, hey man, we need y'all to help us make a decision, not tell us what to do. And we need to handle our own finances and all that shit until we need a little help. And hey, government, no, our state has been running excellent. We just had this really weird natural disaster and we need a little bit of help. We weren't prepared for this major hurricane shit, dude, and it kind of fucked us up. Can we get some federal assistance, please? You know why? Because it's easier to go to your state capital and go talk to your fucking elected representatives than it is to get down to fucking DC and talk to these motherfuckers. So I'm very critical still. I'm trying to be super, super critical. And no, I don't agree with everything these motherfuckers are doing. I don't. But I overwhelmingly agree with the majority of what they're doing, which I have not been able to do that in so long with any other presidency. The Obama years and the Bush years, and I was like, nah, what the fuck is going on here? But you know, I agree more than not with this this administration. Almost drowned in my coffee. Don't drown in your coffee. Oh, damn. Woo. Yo, y'all seen the dude get eaten by the whale? He didn't get eaten, but this was 2 days ago. The dude was out sea kayaking, and a blue whale put him in his mouth and took him underwater. Yo. Hey, yo. See, this is why I don't do water sports, man. I can swim enough to just to barely save my life if I had to. And I was kind of close to something I can float on or close to land. I can give you maybe 10 minutes of a strong doggy paddle. Jonah, hey, bro, yo, that shit was so wild. Okay, so the first thing is, it's wild as fuck that this dude got put in the mouth of a whale and taken under. That's one. It's wild as fuck that it's on camera. It's two. And for three, it's crazy that it's his fucking dad recording the shit. So he's in an interview, he was like, once, you know, they're fishermen. I think they're crabbers. And so that's their life. They know the ocean. They're out there. That's what they do. And he said, yo, once I realized what the fuck was happening, and it didn't take him long, he's like, oh. He's like, I'm about to die. He's like, this is it. Yo, that story had to come from somewhere. So he was like, okay, this is it. I'm gonna die. And so that's a whole nother factor right there. Like in that moment, you really understand, like, this is out of my control and there is nothing I can do. And so to have that feeling right there, like, whoo, I'm about to meet my death. And then once again, on the other side is your father watching that and like, yo, there is nothing I can do to save my child right now. I can see it with my own eyes, and there is absolutely nothing I can do. Like, I can't imagine the feeling from both in that, like, even right now, like, I got a little tear in my eye and just feel really weird, just like, fuck, dude. And then the emotions and feelings, like, when he just came back up, like, yo, like, like, yo, what the fuck, nigga? Like, thank fucking God, yo, like, what the hell? Sheesh. And you know what? The motherfucker's probably right back out there right now. Like, that's what I do for a living. I gotta go back to work. But you got eaten by a whale. Yeah, but I got bills to pay too, nigga. Like, God damn it. God damn it, boy. I really think it's only because he came up at a certain angle and took his fucking kayak in first. Like, if dude was tipped over or something and he would have went in like head first, yo, that whale would have swallowed his ass, yo. I think it's the simple fact he took the whole kayak. The whale swallowed everything, and it's just too big. I don't know. Because they normally eat like just fish and plankton, but in big gulps, you know, those whales take in a lot of fucking water when they're eating like that. I think that shit can swallow a human, yo. And there's another video from a couple years ago. There's a guy, he was literally like on the coastline. He's at the beach, and he's not even like shoulder deep in the water. He's barely like waist deep. So he's standing right on the coastline in a fucking, what's the black and white? Orca. And pull him in the water. And now that motherfucker didn't come back. But the orca like came out the fucking ocean. I'm like, what the fuck? yo. That's why I ain't really good with the water activities, man. You know, hey, everybody to their own elements. They shit in the ocean that was born in the ocean and they live in the ocean. Y'all handle that shit. You know what I'm saying? They shit that is not born in the sky, but you know, can fly. Y'all handle that shit, man. I'll be feeling out of my element. If I'm in the water or if I'm in the air, it's just like, you know, we not naturally built for this. I don't have gills or wings. What the fuck am I doing? This is not water world. You know, this is I feel out of my element, as I should, apparently. Because, you know, even Steve Irwin, God rest his soul. You know what I'm saying? You get out of your element, man, nature is a little aggressive, you know? Nature can be aggressive. And when you realize how puny and weak a human is compared to most animals, you couldn't beat a chimpanzee. I'm telling you right now. You try to fight a chimpanzee, that motherfucker will rip you limb from limb, let alone a gorilla or a bear. If a horse really knew its strength, you ever seen them clips when horses just fucking buck somebody or kick somebody? Just imagine if they had a wherewithal like a human. You couldn't tame a horse unless it wanted to be tamed. That motherfucker would just, it's a beast. It's a big ass animal. It will fucking kill you. Even a cow. If a cow knew how strong a cow was, you think we can just herd these motherfuckers like that, man? It's just because they're dumb. Stay in your element, humans. Because these whales out here eating people and shit, man. You know, I ain't trying to. You want to go deep sea kayaking? No, I'm good. I'm so good, man. We might see some whales. I know we might see some whales, and that's why I don't want to go. I might see the whale from the inside. I don't think I'm ready for that. I can't imagine that thought going through my head like, oh, fuck, I'm inside of a whale. No. No, sir. No, I'm good. Yo, them orcas is different. Talking about Free Willy, man. Fuck that shit, man. Them some crazy animals too, man. Orcas are mean. Dolphins can be dickheads, but orcas can just be outright mean and know that shit, yo. You think these big ass water mammals don't be thinking? Man, look. Them motherfuckers breathe air, bro. They be thinking. But that clip was wild as hell. That clip was wild. And like motherfuckers say, bro, if that shit weren't caught on camera, damn, that's wet. Yeah. If that shit wasn't on camera, man, that shit, hey, that'd be so hard to believe, yo. It'd be so hard. And you tell somebody, I was inside his mouth. Like, how much? No, me, nigga. Not how much. Me, my whole self was in the fucking well, nigga. And then what? It took me under, bitch. I was under the fucking water. Man, look, you don't understand what I'm saying. Yo, this fucking whale tried to eat me, nigga. It put me in its mouth and it went under. What happened? It burped. I don't know. I think my kayak was too big for it to swallow, so it just spit me out. Nigga, man, yo, you making so nigga, I swear to God on everything I love, bro. I swear. My dad was there, he'll tell you. Mm-mm. You know, that's the a family legend passed down now. Yeah, your granddaddy almost got eaten by a whale. Really? Yeah. Back in my 20s, me and my father, we were out enjoying the day. And there he comes out of nowhere. A big one. He'd tell that story for the rest of his life. That man should never have to buy another beer ever again, yo. That man need a drink on the house no matter where he go. Get this man a beer. On me. All right, I think this is gonna be here. Crazy shit going on. Crazy craziness. I am super, super, super excited about this military budget cut, though. The deep state are gonna. Mm. Man, there's so many words that I can't use and so many things that I can't talk about. But people have been unalive for a lot less. I'm telling you right now, man. People have been unalive for a lot less than what this man is trying to do. So everybody, hey, the motherfucker better have the best security detail, and he need like a food tester and everything now. You know, you say cut the military budget in half. Oh yeah, you can't hardly drink food. I mean drink nothing or eat nothing. No way else ever except for in your house. And then on top, you still gotta have somebody tested. They gonna try to get you. The heart attack gun and um the ice bullets. Oh man. You know what I'm saying? Living in some hey, the craziest times ever. Never thought. So I always thought like years ago when Colorado uh made marijuana recreational, I'm like, what the fuck is this, bro? Will I see this shit in my lifetime? Like the prohibition of marijuana ended in America? And it's like we're almost there. It's not everywhere, but it's like I thought that was crazy. The end of marijuana prohibition. Wow. And then it's like, oh, and we got artificial intelligence. It's like, what? Wait a minute. We're on the verge of fucking AI? Yeah, man. And then it's like our government is actually making a hard shift, like a legitimate change. And it's like there's just too much going on right now. It's breaking my fucking brain. It's breaking my brain. All this stuff that's happening right now in this country. And it's like I never thought I would see any of this. Never thought that I would witness any of this in my lifetime, which is I haven't actually watched it, so I posted. Yeah, government definitely does move at a snail's pace. But I think that's the other thing that the establishment is fearing right now is that these motherfuckers going fast. Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You guys are doing stuff. It's like, yeah. We're gonna do stuff. He's like, yeah, but I mean, it's just like the first month. You guys aren't you supposed to be at like dinners and like golfing? And no. We're working. We're working for the American people. We about to do our job. Like, no, but you guys are like doing your job. Like, yeah, we're gonna do our job. And they're showing people like when you do your job, even in government, it doesn't really take that long. A lot of things can be expedited to the point that they're like, judges, tell them to stop. Why? Because they're gonna get shit done. Exactly. I'm not gonna tell them to stop. Like they're doing stuff. I love it. For the most part. For the most part, I'm on board. I'm on board for the most part. Where is that shadow? Okay, I think it should be darker. Here. All right, it's almost 9. I definitely need to eat something. I've been contemplating like what will I have for breakfast? And it still hasn't dawned on me yet. So all right. I'm doing I think I'm gonna do all grilled food today. I'm gonna just light the grill up and throw everything on the grill. Some corn and some sausage and some steak and some chicken and some burgers. And just call it a day. But like some pasta salad. All right. I guess I'll go slice a apple up and have me an apple for breakfast. Easy peasy. See, without you guys being on the tablet. I can't carry you guys with me downstairs. I can take Instagram with me though. What up, Instagram? Who up in here? I can say Instagram downstairs. You getting that painting in though? You know what I'm saying? A lot of lines on his shirt. But all right, guys, let me go grab an apple or
The
something.
median home price in Washington, D.C. has fallen by $139,000 in 30 days. Nearly 4,000 homes have been listed for sale in and around Washington, D.C. Well, what's happening is liberals are fleeing. And of course, as pointed out by Amuse, it's less of a market shift and more of a mass evacuation, like rats fleeing a sinking ship. Here's a photo of it. You guys can go on Zillow and look this up yourself. All of the new listings. It's quite fascinating. It just shows you that for so long, the housing market around Washington, D.C. has always been intact, right? Been very solid and strong. And now this is clearly a disruption in that. Will they be able to sell all their homes? I don't believe so. Now, the other point that I find to be fascinating is that a lot of these new listings are definitely $1 million or more in value. And what that is suggesting, according to this user on X, is that these are high-profile jobs that are exiting this area. And of course, you have to think about the commercial real estate in Washington as well, because we know that DOGE announced to eliminate up to 2/3 of U.S. government office buildings. There's not even a single major U.S. government agency is currently occupying even 50% of their office space. So what happens with that whole market as well? And this is just a developing story because it's showing you how impactful DOGE is and how it's going to affect maybe other industries out there in the DC area. All right, so let's get your guys' answers in the comment section below to this question. What's your reaction to Judge Chutkan? Now, we know she doesn't like President Trump. We know President Trump really isn't a fan of her either. She was the judge that was presiding over that whole Jack Smith case in regards to January 6th. So what do you think about her actually expressing skepticism in regards to Democrats believing that what DOGE is doing should be shut down because it's harmful to American citizens? I'm interested to hear your take in the comment section below. Now, one thing that actually caught people's attention yesterday, actually on the world stage, was Vice President J.D. Vance. He actually attended the security conference in Munich, Germany, and he pretty much called out European leaders to their face because we know they don't really believe in free speech, and they are not a great example of democracy no longer. Now, if you missed out on some of the statements that he made and the reactions that came with it, all you have to do is click on that video because it's coming up right now. ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Try it now.
And we back. Some peanut butter and apples and bananas. I don't know who this is. I'm trying to get a lot of other people's opinion on this stuff too, instead of constantly listening to my favorite guys. So this is Farzad. 1 hour ago, he posted something that's called "Unexpected: The Truth Behind Elon's Doge." It's an hour long though. Well, it popped up as recommended in my YouTube feed just now. Okay, YouTube, let me see who this guy is, Farzad. And what is his take on the Doge department? And why does he have to take an hour to tell us about it?
Customizing your sleep has never been easier. Shop more deals in-store and online, only at Ashley.
Just taken so out of context and making Elon Musk seem like the villain for literally everything now. When the facts change, so does my mind. It's like all my favorite Democrats said the Democratic Party was corrupt and joined Trump. They're blaming Trump and Elon for cutting the spending when everyone in the community knows it was getting out of hand. Like, can you honestly look me in the face and say making $2 million from taxpayer money salary is fair?
What is it trying to solve for? Efficient government, responsive government, cutting out waste, getting rid of corruption, figuring out how to get leadership to act, keeping the will of the people intact.
The bar for getting money from us, our hard-earned guap, just went way up, which I think it should have been.
It was unthinkable for me that somebody of his caliber and the people around them would be working on the government.
We have the smartest dude ever in the history of ever building systems about to rewrite what America could do with unlimited potential and build utopia.
It's going to massively disrupt everything.
It's not going to be a utopia, but okay. Those guys are mostly, it seems like they're mostly in agreement. I want to actually hear the opposers to this. I want to hear more of do I have to go to CNN? Because I don't get CNN recommendations anymore. Wow, this might be not good because there's a comedian, like, so the third CNN video that I see is a fucking comedian. Really? Hmm. I don't know. I guess I'm just gonna listen to CNN for a little bit to see what they're talking about. You gotta have both sides of the narrative.
Never pay commissions on your trades again, and trade spreads as tight as 0.8 pips. The number.
A win for Elon Musk and Doge, who are wasting no time in their efforts to overhaul the federal government. The federal judge ruled Doge can keep its access to data at the Department of Labor and other agencies, rejecting labor unions' attempt to shut down that access. But a judge has barred Musk and Doge from accessing Treasury data for now. Joining us now, CNN senior legal analyst and former state and federal prosecutor, Ali Honig, and CNN senior political analyst, Ron Brownstein. Ali, I want to start with you. Elon and Doge, they're temporarily blocked from accessing this Treasury data. Do you think that the judge will make this hold permanent?
Well, Paula, there has been a bit of a sea change happening over the last several days, which is this. In the beginning, virtually all of these lawsuits challenging Donald Trump's efforts and Elon Musk's efforts to downsize the government were successful. Basically, all of the courts to hear these cases at least put temporary holds on the Trump administration. But slowly, including over the last 2-3 days, we've seen some of those holds come off. We've seen courts start to rule in favor, in some cases, of Trump and Elon Musk. And the reason, broadly speaking, is it's not the case that federal employees have some sacrosanct perpetual right to remain employed forever. And it's also not the case that Elon Musk has zero ability to access information. If he's been someone who's appointed by the president to do a certain job with certain restraints, he can access certain information. So We're starting to see the tide turn right now. A judge, for example, has declined to put the buyout plan on hold. Another judge just yesterday, a Democratic appointed judge, Judge Reyes, forcefully rejected an effort by the fired inspector general to get their jobs back. So it's not quite as simple as, well, these people are entitled to jobs and they do good work. And I think more and more the courts are slowly coming around to Donald Trump's position on these cases.
You know, Ron, I think what's interesting about the access to Treasury data is this has people worked up, right? Because this is also how federal employees are paid, Social Security, disability. I mean, Musk and Trump don't really seem moved by court losses necessarily. But do you think that if constituents and the populace gets too worked up about this, do you think political pressure might prompt them to reverse course on this?
Well, I think, the Treasury data also implicates people's privacy. And the question of whether, Musk and his minions, the people he's brought in, often in case very young coders, are going to have access to Americans' personal, financial, and maybe health data is, I think, a different political question than the size of the federal workforce. I mean, I'm not sure that the public broadly is going to be that unsympathetic to the idea of trimming the federal workforce. Where I think Musk and Trump run into risk on that front is whether this is going to threaten basic services. And if you start severely cutting the federal workforce, Paula, you are really hostage to events. I mean, you cut CDC and there are outbreaks of infectious disease among kids, you're going to have some political blowback. Or you cut food inspection and there are outbreaks of E. coli and other problems, you're going to have blowback. So I'm not sure there's going to be a huge political uprising at the front end, but I think that once you do this, you leave yourself pretty vulnerable to events on the back end.
Elliot, I want to get your take on what's happening, talk about an uprising over at DOJ, where there's basically a civil war going on inside that building. You've worked at the Justice Department. Obviously, we have the mutiny over dropping the Adams case, tensions over investigations have happened over the past few years. Attorney General Bondi, she's 10 days into the job. Presumably Todd Blanche will be confirmed soon. Do you think there is any way that they can gain back the trust inside the building, or is it just lost at this point?
I don't think there's any way they can ever completely win back the trust that's been squandered in the last 2-3 days. First of all, I don't know where Pam Bondi is here. She's sort of floating in and out of various news conferences and seems not to even know what's happening in her own department. Meanwhile, Emil Bove is wreaking absolute havoc. He's firing people. He's firing off letters that become public in which he says directly it's okay to dismiss a case if it furthers the president's political agenda. This is outrageous stuff. This undermines DOJ's independence. This undermines DOJ's credibility. I know for a fact you don't have to be too close to DOJ to be able to tell people are in an uprising there, and that's the people who have come up and quit and issued sort of eloquent public statements to explain why they're quitting. But it also goes to the hundreds and thousands of rank and file people who work there. The last week has wrought incalculable damage on DOJ. What Pam Bondi needs to do is get control of her own house. She needs to set the priorities in this place. Todd Blanche does too, and not let Emil Bove sort of run the shop on his own, because he's doing a horrific job of that and he's doing real damage.
Yeah, Emil Bove, his name has been on the memos, right? The termination memos that were pushing for information about people who worked on January 6th. Obviously, he's had to handle what's going on in the Adams case. Ron, do you think Bondi should push him out, make him sort of the scapegoat for everything that has happened and try to start again? Do you think that would help?
I can't see that happening. I mean, you can see the attraction of trying to, finger someone as the scapegoat, but really what he is doing is advancing the vision that Donald Trump has explicitly laid out, where the Justice Department is more kind of a person is he drafted or enlisted or coerced into being an enforcer, punishing his enemies and rewarding his friends. I mean, the bookend of dropping these charges against Adams, which in any rational world, given the letters from the line prosecutor, from the assistant U.S. attorney in New York, both of whom with impeccable conservative credentials, that this was a response to a quid pro quo offer from the mayor's defense. In any rational world, you would have Congress investigating, and maybe the judge himself will be asking some pointy questions when he hears, the request to dismiss. But basically, what you're seeing, I think this case crystallizes, is how far Trump wants to go in transforming the administration of justice into a tool to advance his interests. And really across a broad, swath of society, I think from business leaders to Congress to civic leaders, people have to decide whether they are comfortable living in that world, because it could come around and bite you in ways that you might not, anticipate today. But I think the Adams case really crystallizes those choices, and maybe in a way that will be easier for the public to grasp than some of the other decisions, like the abandoning, for example, enforcement of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act.
Yeah, bitten by his own hand-picked acting U.S. attorney. Ali Honig, Ron Brownstein, thank you so much for joining us.
Video clip referencing a major news story from the past week, and you tell me what's the story. Here we go.
Okay, we got a dog. The White House, of course.
No, Capitol.
Okay.
Layoff, no, somebody's getting fired. That's one of Elon's kids, right?
And then there's Elon, so you were right. Doge.
Oh, very,
Elon,
very
Doge,
tricky.
firing people, hiring children, final answer.
Yeah. Partial points. Let me get a little bit of that. The story is Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, Elon's made-up cabinet department / influencer hype house that was named after a 13-year-old meme and staffed by boys roughly the same age. Now, who is Doge? What is Doge doing? And what are Democrats doing about Doge? Or in other words,
what's your name? Tell us your name. Give me that ID again.
That's me at McDonald's after they cut off breakfast at 10:30. Yes, Maxine Waters wanted to know what Doge was doing at the Department of Education, because all month the Musketeers have had access to sensitive data from all sorts of federal agencies. They're giving them access to everything. They got access to everything but our Walgreens reward number.
Well, he's going to stop waste, like in a way that wolves make sure that the chicken inventory is good.
Yes.
Your social security number and your tax, it's not going to get hacked like the way Doge's website got hacked today. Did you see that?
Well, apparently it wasn't even hacked. That's literally how his coders left it. Yeah, his boy genius coders left it just available for anybody. Just get in there and you can see sensitive information about the National Reconnaissance Office. It's fantastic. But today they got into the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. It's probably fine. Oh, yes.
If you're wondering what's coming next, in the coming days, Doge will also be getting access to sensitive data at the Pentagon and the Department of Defense. What gives Elon Musk the license to just sniff around federal finances?
He doesn't have it. He's doing it anyway.
One reason, just this week, Elon's social media company agreed to pay Donald Trump $10 million as a settlement for banning his account after the January 6th insurrection. Bonus points. How much did Meta pay Trump to say sorry for doing the exact same thing to his Facebook page?
25 million or something.
25 million over here. How much do y'all think?
It's like mafia guys, they own whole industries, but they still can't resist selling stuff out of the trunk of their car.
The answer is $25 million. The concern with Elon's involvement in all of these politics right now is that he was not elected. The White House called Elon a, quote, special government employee and called Doge itself a temporary.
Was Dr. Fauci elected? Is Bill Gates elected? I'm just asking questions.
Organization. Elon is just gonna come in and clean up the White House. What's the Japanese lady that come clean up all?
Marie Kondo.
He is the government Marie Kondo.
The Department of Education does not spark joy.
What other title did Elon Musk take on this week?
Chancellor?
The man with his hand on the wheel of the burning Cybertruck named America changed his Twitter screen name to Harry Bowles this week. These funky screen names could be a bigger part of Doge's strategy. Someone tweeted a Doge team member's name. Elon replied, "You have committed a crime." But there's one breakout star from old Harry Balls' team. Does anyone know who this young man is?
Well, he's Big Balls. That's Big Balls. Big Balls. Everybody knows who Big Balls is.
Do you know his real name?
I bet it's Chad or Trey.
That's crazy.
19-year-old Edward Korstein, better known as
Big Balls.
Big balls, big balls, big balls. You know Rachel Maddow didn't want to say that shit.
Korstein's a former bicycle mechanic and counselor at something called Kent Playland, and the only reason we know any of that is because of his now deleted LinkedIn page, where his username was also, you guessed it, Big Balls. Can anyone tell me Big Balls' current job title?
I believe he is a senior advisor at the State Department.
Big Balls is now a senior advisor to both the State Department and the Department of Homeland Security. Just to be clear, this guy is a senior advisor. He looked like the Secretary of Vape. Where your pants at, Balls? Now, it's not just Democrats who are scrambling to address the balls in the room. Edward's father, Charles Korstein, do you know what he had to do this week?
It better not be something bad. Roy, I don't know how much more of this I can do.
This is the first episode of the second season. You know how much bad shit we got to get through?
Oh my God.
Isn't Big Balls Senior, like, isn't there some popcorn business and he had to like disavow his son because it was hurting his popcorn business?
Big Balls' daddy is the CEO of Lesser Evil Snacks, who make the fancy Himalayan. Yeah, Big Balls' daddy, with that dude on the bag whose race you can't guess. This week, the company sent all employees an email that read in part, quote, "In light of recent events, we feel compelled to reaffirm that Lesser Evil is in no way affiliated with any political figures, political policies, or political groups. Our values remain the same as they've always been: health, sustainability, and affordability. Sincerely, Papa Balls." This is the biggest popcorn scandal since Over Redenbacher was found dead in his jacuzzi by his building super. I'm the only one remember how Over Redenbacher died.
I'm just being quiet because I had something to do with it.
Not but surely, all this sloppy management of federal data is too outrageous for the Democratic Party to tolerate. What is the Democratic Party's plan to stop the steal of the government?
Oh, absolutely nothing.
The answer is the Stop the Steal bill. You don't see what the Democrats did? They took a slogan that the Republicans been using, but then they used it like, boom, we're going to use it for a Democrat bill, then we're going to hit them with the lock her up bill. Now, the bill was introduced by Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, and it might be a little bit more exciting if Congressman Jeffries had to say this.
What leverage do we have?
That's not how you, like, you're supposed to give people hype. You propose the bill, and then you go, all right, we got the bill, and we're going to get the bill, and we're going to go across the aisle and talk to the people. He was like, hey, y'all know what it is. We fucked. Michael and Andy, watch the clip. Tell me what's the story.
Cabinets? Oh, cabinets. I already know.
Cabinets.
Oh, but now I'm lost. A worm?
that's
Oh,
a
a brainworm. That's probably a brainworm.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
There's everybody fleeing the Department of Education. Yes.
Yeah. No school ever.
And there is our president. So this seems to be the story about the cabinets and the cabinet picks, the brainworm, Department of Education, and the fact that Trump is just having his way with utterly unqualified people to come in and do whatever they want.
There are shitty, horrible people going to be running from the White House.
Give them a chance, Andy.
Points for both of you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hooray! It's all fire. The story is President Trump's unconfirmable crew of cabinet nominees getting confirmed by the Senate. On Wednesday, Tulsi Gabbard was confirmed as Director of National Intelligence. Question: what makes Tulsi Gabbard uniquely unqualified to coordinate the intelligence community and prevent another 9/11?
Is it that she's been credibly accused of being a Russian asset?
Intelligence experts said that the new head of U.S. intelligence, quote, lacked experience in the field, embraced Russian conspiracy theories, and showed sympathy for dictators like Vladimir Putin and Assad. She does have that cool witch hat, though. She looked like one of them sexy professors at Hogwarts. So the Senate confirmed Gabbard by vote of 52 to 48. With one Republican senator voting no. Who was the lone dissenter?
It was Mitch McConnell, wasn't it?
Sure was.
Sure was.
Isn't Mitch McConnell voting different since he fell up them stairs?
Cocaine Mitch.
He decided to stop smoking in bed when the house is already burnt down. Like, it's too late now, Mitch.
Wait, this ain't
You
Mitch.
say bitch or Mitch?
Did you say bitch
I have
or
a
Mitch?
cold, so it could be either.
Damn.
Shortly after Tulsi was sworn in, Trump made a significant geopolitical announcement. After a phone call with Vladimir Putin, Trump shocked Europe with an avalanche of concessions to Russia over Ukraine, and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth made it clear that Ukraine will not join NATO, and Ukraine can forget about regaining Crimea. This could get bad at some point. They're going to try and lock up Zelensky.
Yeah.
Now, the comedy shows in that gulag are going to be off the chain. This week, the Associated Press was banned from the Oval Office press pool for not acknowledging a recent Trump-mandated name change. What was the name change?
Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of Big Balls.
Now, this week, House Republicans submitted a bill that would enable Trump to change another name. Oh boy, what name was it?
Oh, this was actually submitted by my congressman. I am a proud resident of Savannah, Georgia, and my congressman, Earl Buddy, I don't know his last name.
But
He proposed a congressional bill to rename Greenland as Red, White, and Blue Land.
the GOP bill would let Trump change the name of Greenland to Red, White, and Blue Land.
Are we allowed to name other countries? Is that a thing we're allowed to do now?
Yeah, I want to call France Kenny.
As a professional mechanic, your tools are essential for your living. Icon tools complete every repair without giving an inch. With broad selection and industry-leading warranty, you can count on Icon. You can count on great value. With over 1,500 stores and interest-free credit on qualifying purchases, why pay tool truck prices? Go with Icon Tools. Tool truck quality, unbeatable value, only at Harbor Freight.
We're already on day 3. I'm so excited. Everybody's been working incredibly hard. Everything looks so good. Can't wait to see the set and how everything comes together. It's gonna be amazing.
No one really cared about the game because of the earth-shattering announcement that had been made moments prior.
You know, we're flying over right now. We're flying over a thing called the Gulf of America. And I'm signing a proclamation, and perhaps you could define that.
First of all, why do you fly around in a Hyatt hotel room? Second of all, define proclamation? You don't know what a proclamation, or do you just want her to say what the actual proclamation? I'm sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
This is a proclamation declaring today, February 9th, 2025, as the first ever Gulf of America Day.
And we're flying right over it right now. So we thought this would be appropriate. Even bigger than the Super Bowl.
It's true, bigger than the Super Bowl. In fact, my favorite thing about Gulf of America Day are the commercials. It's very historic. I'm sure we'll look back on this day fondly when America is swallowed up by the rising waters of the Gulf of America. You know, it turns out it's kind of a weird thing. Airplanes might not be the best place to make bigger than the Super Bowl announcements.
Even bigger than the Super Bowl. This is a big thing. And almost everybody now has assented to that.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you could please direct your attention now to the right side of the aircraft. Air Force One is currently in international waters, the first time in history flying over the recently renamed Gulf of America.
First of all, oh my God, it shot him up in just a second. I think airplane pilots must be the most powerful force in the universe. I feel like the Democrats have to get themselves an airplane pilot. Sorry for the interruption, but you can't do that. Maybe no, that's Schumer. Schumer will be the pilot. But forgive me, I'm even forgotten. What does calling it Gulf of America do? Do we get all its fish now?
Make America great again, right? That's all we care about.
Yeah, we get all the fish and all the oil. Because Biden made a presidential order that we can't drill in the Gulf of Mexico, where there is a lot of fucking oil that we can use as a nation. And since there is a presidential order or directive saying that we cannot drill, we cannot do offshore oil drilling in the Gulf of Mexico, you know what? We just changed the name, bitch. We're not drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. We're not. We're drilling in the Gulf of America. So yeah. But then again, all the fish, yeah, you get all the fish and all the fucking oil too. Yo, the Democrats are struggling hard. They're struggling hard to find everything they can to talk about. And there's nothing for you to talk about. There's nothing. There's like no more straws for you to grasp. Like shit is going so well, and we're exposing all this corruption and all this bullshit, and we're saving the American people tons of money. Over the next 4 years, we're going to save $1 trillion. We're going to save $1 trillion for us over the next 4 years. Catch you later, Wendy.
Making America great again. Everything Trump does is all part of making America great again. Order one. Roll back everything from the previous not great administration. Regulations on the environment, regulations on the Second Amendment, the Title IX guidance, and not just the big shit. You want to make America great again, you can't skimp on the details.
President Trump says he's going to reverse Joe Biden's mandate to phase out plastic straws, saying, enjoy your next drink without a straw that disgustingly dissolves in your mouth.
This is my comeback. You start yours at PurdueGlobal.edu.
Okay, he's right on this one. He's right on this one. Those straws are f***ing terrible. Objectively terrible. I'm supposed to have some weird tissue paper dissolve in my mouth just because turtles can't figure out straws aren't food? No. Don't eat the tubes, you stupid turtles. So Trump is making America great again by taking us back to 2016. But obviously, if we're going to make America great again, we can't stop in 2016. We got to keep pushing to that place when America was truly great. How much further back do we need to go? So, looks like it's the 70s. Like you don't know who Burt Reynolds is. If you're gonna make us great, you're gonna have to roll further back than the 70s. What do you got?
We're going to stop the destructive and divisive diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yeah, the 70s won't fly. 70s was all about women's lib and Stonewall. No, my friends, we got to go back further to make America great. And ladies, when we do go back, don't worry. It's all going to work out for you.
You will no longer be thinking about abortion. Women will be happy, healthy, confident, and free. Like everything else, it's a little bit different today. You're not allowed to say that because if you call a woman or girl beautiful, that's the end of your career.
Oh, you can't even say, hey, sugar tits.
That's not what he said. That's not what he said.
But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go back to the old days with regular tits. Not the ones that disgustingly dissolve in your mouth.
Let this do that.
Also, Jesus. But let's not stop in the 70s there, folks. Not even in the, let's keep going. Because that sounds like the 50s, and the 50s are still too inclusive. I mean, by then, Italians and Irish were considered white. No, that's too far. Keep going back. America's greatness awaits.
We were the richest country in the world. We were at our richest from 1870 to 1913. That's when we were a tariff country.
1870s. Okay. There we go. 1870s. Pew, 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 pew. And of course, while America presently is still pretty rich, apologies, Luxembourg. Point taken. Who wouldn't trade our current environment for America's 1870s tariff-driven, becandled, tuberculosis-laden, pre-industrial heyday?
We were so wealthy, we had commissions set up what to do with all the money that we were taking in.
Good point of order. To the extent that we were at our richest from 1870 to 1913, it wasn't so much we as like four guys. And we called them robber barons as a sign of affection. Meanwhile, the rest of America, the leading cause of death was falling into a vat at work. And it got to the point where even the robber barons realized that the only way this glorious era in American history was going to end was either full-scale revolution or reasonable compromise, which is how we ended up with stuff like income tax and labor laws and workplace safety guarantees. So let's really tread carefully in the greatness way back machine.
Arizona House Republican Eddie Biggs introduced a bill this week that would abolish OSHA, a Department of Labor agency tasked with overseeing workplace safety.
To the vats! And fill mine with boiling tallow, boy! What? What? Why not just bring back child labor while you're at it?
When you talk about school lunches, hey, I worked my way through high school. I don't know about you, but I worked since I was, before I was even 13 years old. I was picking berries in the field before we had child labor laws that precluded.
You were picking berries in a field before your bar mitzvah? I mean, by the way, how old are you if you were picking berries before there were child labor laws? Because you look great. Is the key to good skin working the fields as a child? Now, I hate to bring this up, but if we are going back to the 1870s and before, Does that include every diversity initiative?
Birthright citizenship was, if you look back when this was passed and made, that was meant for the children of slaves. This was not meant for the whole world to come in, everybody coming in, and totally unqualified people with perhaps unqualified children.
Don't bring us your tired and poor huddled masses. Do you have any mathletes? Any Doogies Hauser? We will take all of your Sheldons, young and old. For those of you at home who might fear that the president's desire to take us back to our nation's historic greatness may tread into unconstitutional action, fear not, because the brilliant design of our nation allows for the co-equal branch of the judiciary to stand as a bulwark against tyranny, as judged in the landmark decision of 1803 Marbury versus Madison, which, as you know, is when James Madison lost the historic Supreme Court case to Stephen Marbury. Marbury ran him out of the building and established our foundational separation of powers.
Vice President J.D. Vance, he had some interesting words about the separation of power and government.
He's for it?
If a judge tried to tell a general how to conduct a military operation, that would be illegal. If a judge tried to command the attorney general on how to use her discretion as a prosecutor, that's also illegal. Judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power.
Yeah! Of course they're allowed to adjudicate the boundaries of that power. That's the whole f***ing point of the judiciary, to interpret whether those powers are legitimate. You went to law school for the The alternative is that acting. The only alternative is that the executive determines for himself what is constitutional, at which point there would be no guardrails against. Hey, Congress. Hey, buddy. You got a little separation of powers problem. I was wondering, any chance you might be reasserting your authority? Opposition party. Democrats, you ready to do some oppositioning?
There are some things we can do, but the Republicans are the majority in the Senate and the House. We're going to need some Republicans, frankly, who are willing to lose, who are willing to be a Liz Cheney and say, I will lose my seat to do the right thing by this country, not the right thing by Donald Trump. I haven't seen it yet. Let's hope.
Democratic Congressman Dan Goldman of New York.
That's the sales pitch. We just need someone on their side willing to lose everything to progress, like a Russian dog being shot into space. You can see the Democrats' backbone on our new show, America Backslides, starring Dan Goldman as hopeful loser. But fine. We have to rely on Republicans in Congress to be a check on Trump. How's that going?
Republican Senator Tom Tillis says that while he believes Trump's actions run afoul of the Constitution in the strictest sense, he believes nobody should bellyache about that.
You're comfortable if he shuts those down without getting congressional approval. Congress will be involved at some point, but I think the country's comfortable.
They're using that authority right now in a way it hasn't been used in a long time, so it looks radical. It's not.
Do you think he violated the law?
Well, technically, yeah. I'm not, losing a whole lot of sleep.
Save up to 35% today and bring comfort home during Raymore and Flanagan's President's Day Super Weekend Sale. Or get no interest financing with no fees and no minimum purchase for 36 or 48 months. The President's Day Super Weekend Sale ends Monday at Raymore and Flanagan. Get a W-2 and file your taxes 100% free. Plus, get your biggest refund. File free now. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple Form 1040 returns only. Click for eligibility.
Pete Hegseth, Trump's top cabinet member if you go by blood alcohol level. Now, Hegseth got the gig by promising to go to war against woke, and yesterday he won another decisive battle.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has renamed the Army base Fort Liberty back to Fort Bragg. The previous name was changed, you'll remember, to Fort Liberty in 2023 as part of an effort to cut military honors bestowed on those who rebelled against the Union during the Civil War.
There it is. I direct the Army to change the name of Fort Liberty, North Carolina to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. That's right. Bragg is back.
Yeah, suck it, Libs! Oh, you didn't want this military base to honor a traitor to America? Haha, too bad. Woke is dead, and Confederate General Braxton Bragg is alive.
At this time, Bragg is not a reference to the Confederate general. The name now honors an enlisted Army soldier named Roland L. Bragg, who the Pentagon says was awarded a Silver Star, Purple Heart for combat during World War II.
Okay. Oh, you renamed Fort Bragg after a different Bragg? So after all that bitching about not giving into woke history, you're basically admitting that we shouldn't name military bases after Confederate generals. Well, it's a good thing woke is over because I think I can say this now. That's a pussy move, Hegseth. Just to be totally clear, Roland Bragg is not a famous figure in military history. He's just someone who worked for this weird name switcheroo idea. Pete Hegseth basically said, find me a guy named Bragg who served in the Army and didn't own slaves. I mean, he didn't even have a Wikipedia entry until today. Today. Do you know how obscure you have to be to not even have a Wikipedia page? There's a Wikipedia page for cats that look like Hitler. Hegseth, look, I say either commit to honoring a Confederate general or don't. But trying to find some kind of name loophole is just silly. I mean, why do I get the feeling Pete's going to try to pull this with his wife? Like, baby, I didn't cheat on you. Her name was also Susan, okay? I'm restoring greatness to our marriage. Now, with all this tariff imposing and fort renaming, you might be wondering, is there anyone who's benefiting from Trump's actions? Yes.
Breaking news, President Trump's Justice Department moving to drop the federal corruption case against the New York City Mayor Eric Adams.
The mayor was accused of taking $100,000 in free plane tickets and luxury hotel stays from wealthy Turkish nationals and at least one Turkish government official.
Oh, shit! If you're free tonight, head down to party at the Turkish Airlines Lounge at JFK, because shit is about to be lit. You know what? I applaud Donald Trump for letting a blue city mayor off the hook. This sends a message. Donald Trump is not about being a Democrat or a Republican. As long as you're criminally corrupt, you're his people. Now, I'm curious. What was it about Adams' case that convinced Trump to drop the charges?
As soon as Donald Trump was elected, Adams began a campaign for a reprieve, flying down to Florida to meet with Trump, driving overnight to attend Trump's inauguration, the Democratic mayor declining to criticize Trump.
Oh, God. Trump really loves getting his ass kissed, doesn't he? This probably explains why all his suit pants have that little trap door on the butt like old-timey long underwear. Now, to be fair, that would be fair. The Justice Department didn't say they let Adams off because he kissed Trump's ass. They had an even dumber reason.
The Justice Department memo said it reached this conclusion without assessing the strength of the evidence. Memo also said the case needed to go so Adams could devote his full attention to Trump's immigration policies.
Yes, of course. Trump didn't drop the charges so he could hold them over him for the rest of his term. Trump did it so Adams could focus on enforcing Trump's immigration policies. And now that Adams has the time, I'm sure he's bringing a new laser focus to the job.
Mayor Adams has his plate full, managing the day-to-day business of the city. How are you? Today, he's taking some time for some R&R. Angela performed a 10-minute laser hair removal procedure. Adams spoke with me exclusively during the process.
When I'm able to come into the community and say, okay, we did this policy, we put these millions of dollars, and now let's go see the results.
You don't have to do an interview right now. I mean, should we go? This feels like a private moment for you. I mean, I thought I wanted more transparency in my government, but now I'm thinking perhaps some secrecy is for the best. For weeks, people have been raising alarms about how Trump seems to be handing way too much power over to Elon Musk. And yesterday, Trump replied, I hear you. You want me to give more power to Elon Musk.
President Trump setting new guidelines for hiring in the federal workforce while giving more power to Elon Musk and his team at the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. A new executive order directs government agencies to pursue large-scale cuts, saying they now need hiring approval from DOGE.
Yes, Elon Musk is now in charge of all government hirings. Sorry, I didn't say that right. Right, I didn't say it right. Yeah, okay. I don't know why I keep Hitler. Misspeak.
Clearly stated in the Oval Office yesterday, we will comply with the law and the courts, but we will also continue to seek every legal remedy to ultimately overturn these radical injunctions and ensure President Trump's policies can be enacted. So here in our new media seat today, we have Chris Pavlovsky, an entrepreneur who has a strong passion for protecting freedom of speech. Chris started the video sharing platform Rumble in 2013.
I got some Rumble stock.
Protecting a free and open internet from censorship.
Got a little bit of Rumble stock. Y'all better get some. Hey, if y'all ain't invest in Rumble, like them or not, they're growing pretty fast. So it's a good investment.
In contrast to the way he was censored by other platforms in years past.
Yeah, Rumble is not a bad investment right now.
Recently marking 67 million
Because everybody who leaves YouTube, go to Rumble.
If you're watching right now and interested in sitting in this seat, you can apply whitehouse.gov/new media. With that, I will take your questions. And Chris, why don't you kick us off on this very busy news day?
Thank you very much to you and President Trump. It's an honor to be sitting here in the media and seeing the speaker and to be able to demonstrate why freedom of expression is so important. Rumble was the victim of censorship at the hands of multiple foreign governments. It's clear there are still many countries who oppose free speech and even target American companies. Can you describe what the administration will do to protect U.S. interests and values worldwide?
Sure. Well, thanks for the very important question. And I think that free speech and ending censorship, both here at home and also abroad, is an important part of President Trump's agenda. I think first, President Trump has led by example on this front as the leader of the free world, the president of the United States, with his show of access and transparency on a daily basis. The president takes questions from all of you almost every single day and really reveals what he's thinking and feeling. And I think that serves as a great example to the rest of the world. As for tangible actions that the president has signed, he did sign an executive order, I believe on day one, certainly within the first week of this administration, to restore free speech and stop government-sponsored censorship here at home. And the EO made it very clear that federal employees are not allowed to engage in any activity that would infringe upon the American people's right of free expression. So I think the president has led quite strongly on this. And I would just add, this is part of the reason we have a new media seat, to invite new voices into this room. Again, we're going to need to expand this room because so many people are interested, and we're very excited about that. It's a privilege to cover this White House, but we want all voices to be heard. So thanks for being us with here, Chris, and I hope you enjoyed the briefing. Sure. Jordan.
Thanks, Caroline. Get out this morning show that consumer prices costs a variety of goods, and it was put up for President Trump calling for low interest rates. The Fed said it's holding rates steady to try and tamp down further inflation. So how will rates keep inflation should Trump?
Sure. Well, first of all, on the inflation point, we did receive those numbers, and they were worse than expected, which tells us that the Biden administration indeed left us with a mess to deal with. It's far worse than I think anybody anticipated, because unfortunately the previous administration was not transparent in where the economy truly was. We know people at this very podium told the American
All right,
people
it's
that
almost 10
inflation
o'clock,
was transitory,
and we're right at 3 hours. I kind of came right in and right to painting. Didn't do any music this morning. I did have breakfast in here, but I think we got some solid painting in this morning. Like I said, it's Sunday meal prep day. I want to really just make sure I have everything for dinner today. So I'm gonna try to find a stopping point here shortly.
Government economic approach that this administration is taking will result in lower inflation. I've said that from this podium many times. The president had record low interest rates and inflation rates in his first term. He believes that the economy can handle it and withstand it. And we're doing a lot to tackle the inflation effort on this front. It's a whole of government economic approach, and I've talked about what we're doing to tackle inflation quite a few times from this podium. I do believe it will come before the Prime Minister's visit tomorrow, and I will let the President discuss the details on the reciprocal tariff front. But this is something he believes strongly in, and it's very simple logic as to why the President wants to impose reciprocal tariffs. It's the golden rule, which we all learned when we were growing up in school. Treat others the way you want to be treated, and far too many nations around this world have been ripping off the United States of America for far too long, and that's why the President believes this will be a great policy that will benefit American workers and improve our national security. JJ. Elon Musk yesterday gave us some information on that. We're just wondering if there's evidence, is the White House willing to share evidence of those conflicts, or does Elon Musk come to the briefing room and share material evidence of what he's talking about? Sure, I would love for Elon Musk to come to the briefing room. That's why we had him go to the Oval Office yesterday, where I think he provided great answers. He was speaking in layman's terms, speaking common sense to all of you in the media, but also to Americans at home. But I would say especially to all of you in the media, because I think it's a real fallacy that there's this alleged lack of transparency when it comes to Doge. President Trump and Elon Musk have been incredibly transparent on what Doge is doing. There is an X account with the Doge handle. They are tweeting out what they are doing on a daily basis. They have a website where they are posting the receipts of the contracts that they are reviewing and the payments that they have stopped from going out the door. Secretaries of our departments have stopped from going out the door. And I would also say that before it was Elon Musk making our government efficient and accountable, it was some unnamed bureaucrat that none of you knew. Elon Musk is the richest man in the world. He's also now one of the most highly scrutinized men in the world alongside President Trump because of what he's doing and the access that he is allowing. So there's great transparency. As for the actual receipts, we are happy to provide them, and I actually brought some today because all of you know I love to bring the receipts. We have contracts upon contracts that we can send and provide this information to you. Let me be very clear. We are not trying to hide anything. We have been incredibly transparent, and we will continue to be. These are screenshots of contracts that Doge found across our government. This is a DEI contract, $36,000 for U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. That is against the president's policies and his America First agenda. This is a $3.4 million contract, a Council for Inclusive Innovation at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, Department of Commerce, another DEI contract that Doge identified. I can continue to go through these. Oh, I love this one, $57,000 for climate change in Sri Lanka. What is this doing to continue the interests of the American people? Absolutely nothing. These are the line items across the federal government that Doge is identifying daily. They're moving very fast. There's a lot of paper that we can show you, but we're happy to do it. This administration has been more than transparent about what Doge is doing. And here's one of their tweets that they posted about the mine. I believe this is in Pennsylvania, where the federal employee retirement system is being processed. Did anybody know this was even happening in our country before Elon Musk talked about it in the Oval Office yesterday? A lot of Americans didn't. So we are providing transparency and accessibility on a daily basis when it comes to Doge. And I also have the Doge Daily Report, if anybody would like it. on all of the things that they are identifying and finding. We're happy to provide this information to you. We're talking about it every single day.
Are all of these judges fraud, or are they waste, or are they contrary to justice policy?
I would argue that all of these things are fraudulent, they are wasteful, and they are an abuse of the American taxpayer's dollar. This is not what the government should be spending money on. It's contrary to the president's priorities and agenda. And again, we can continue to provide you the receipts for all of the fraud, waste, and abuse. And if anybody in here wants to argue that the federal government is not fraudulent in some capacity, be my guest, because I think the American people watching at home would beg to differ. Mary.
More on the judges. So do I believe the court have the authority to issue impeachment recommendations?
We believe that the injunctions that have been issued by these judges have no basis in the law and have no grounds. And we will, again, as the president said very clearly yesterday, comply with these orders. But it is the administration's position that we will ultimately be vindicated. And the president's executive actions that he took were completely within the law. They were constitutional, and we look forward to the day where he can continue to implement.
What would it be like if you couldn't just come to a game and drop hundreds of dollars from all the cards right away? So we explicitly prevented that in Marvel Snap. You can't just come day one and buy as many boosters as you want to get all the cards.
Staff discovered $2.7 trillion in improper payments, Medicare, Medicaid, overseas, to people who should not have gotten it. Some of this room might have missed that press conference. Can you elaborate on what the president is thinking at this time?
Well, again, that's another example. There's a very long list of the fraud, waste, and abuse that DOJ is identifying on a daily basis. Elon Musk also talked about yesterday about Social Security payments that are going out the door for people who are no longer with us. Unfortunately, I would say that is certainly fraud. There's also a lot of contracts they've identified that, just as a hypothetical example, are $1 million, but only 500,000 went out the door. So where's the rest of that cash? And so that's the thing. Those are the things that DOJ is working on every single day. And I would just remind everybody in this room, this is what President Trump campaigned on doing. He's delivering on a promise that 77 million people elected him to do. James. Sure.
First, the statement that was released after this morning's phone calls identified Mr. Witkoff as the special envoy who would be part of the delegation that undertakes to resolve the Russia-Ukraine war. I have thought that individual was General so can you clear that up?
Sure, I'd be happy to. As you mentioned, the president in his truth following the phone call.
Republican bait and switch has 3 elements. Part 1, talk about lowering the high cost of living, but do nothing about it. Part 2, enact massive tax cuts for billionaires and wealthy corporations that will do nothing to improve the quality of life of everyday Americans. Part 3, stick working class Americans with the bill for those massive tax cuts for billionaires and wealthy corporations by destroying Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid as we know it. House Democrats want nothing to do with the Republican bait and switch, and we will do everything possible to stop it.
That was Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries talking yesterday on the House floor. Welcome to the 4th Hour of Morning Joe. It's 6 a.m. on the West Coast and 9 a.m. on the East Coast. Let's look at a couple of headlines that we have today. The Wall Street Journal shows a picture of the Vice President Vance, on his way now over in Europe with a tough message on the U.S. and AI. And also a showdown emerges over limits of presidential power. The New York Times talking about the possibility of a constitutional crisis. Of course, some people quoted in the articles across many platforms today and across the Times today suggest we're already in a constitutional crisis. Others say not there yet. A host of Republican senators yesterday came out and strongly said that the court's opinions, whatever they may be, are to be respected. And if you don't like them, well, as Senator Kennedy said, that's why God created appellate courts, and you can appeal those decisions. But again, most Republicans in the U.S. Senate speaking yesterday on camera talking about the importance of respecting the decision of our Article 3 judges. The host of Way Too Early, Ali Vitale, is back with us. And also with us this hour, we have member of the New York Times editorial board, Mara Gay, also National Action Network, and a host of MSNBC's Politics Nation, Reverend Al Sharpton, and special correspondent for Vanity Fair, host of the Fast Politics podcast, and MSNBC political analyst, Molly Jong-Fast. Ali, let's start with you. What's topping the news today?
Well, President Trump facing backlash this morning after signing new 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports to the United States. It's a continuation of something he did during his first term, although with a higher percentage and price tag attached to it. NBC News senior White House correspondent Garrett Haake has the latest there.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
With the stroke of his pen Monday night, President Trump raising tariffs on U.S. allies and adversaries alike, imposing new duties on steel and aluminum imports.
It's 25% without exceptions or exemptions, and that's all countries.
Canada is one of America's biggest suppliers of both metals. Its prime minister calling the tariffs unacceptable.
So imports of Canadian steel and aluminum create thousands, if not millions, of jobs and support families across the United States.
Trump's move would benefit American producers of steel and aluminum, but could also lead to higher prices. Those metals are used in everything from food packaging like soda cans to car manufacturing. The president suggesting there may be more to come.
We will be looking at chips, and we will be looking at cars, and we're going to be looking at.
A Sleep Number smart bed is perfect for couples. The Climate 360 smart bed is the only bed that cools and warms on each side. And all our smart
pharmaceuticals.
And in an interview.
Yes, look at everything. Fuck that. So, America, make more stuff for yourself. Of course, there are going to be other countries that do things better. Some countries, based on natural resources available, build stronger industries around certain things, around certain products. So if you have more iron ore deposits in your land, then you can imagine you would probably want to export some of that because you have so much of it. So let's export some of our metals to other countries who don't have as much. That's great. And if you have more lumber and more trees, or you have more coastline so you can do more fishing. So more, yes, countries are going to specialize in areas where they have the maximum resources to do so. America, we have resources here too. Let's utilize our own stuff as much as we can before we ask other people, hey, let me buy some of that from you. Make your own shit, nigga. Make your own steel. And stop importing so much. And if you want to import, we're going to put high-ass tariffs on it. You want to sell your shit here, we're going to take a big chunk of your goddamn proceeds. So, I'm all for it. All for it. I'm gonna say most of this stuff I'm with. I'm with the shits, man. Most of it. The downsizing of government, all the fucking tariffs and everything, yo, I'm with all of that, yo. Because to me, as a layperson who has no real formal education, it just makes sense. It sounds like common sense. How can we maximize the livelihood of Americans? Make your own shit. Stop importing so much stuff. Make your own medicines. You get so much of not the medicines themselves, but the components for different medicines. We don't even make that shit anymore. It's like, why did we offshore so much of our industries? It's because the corporations wanted cheap labor. And other nations who are trying to become first world nations, who are still on a rapid development pace, they want as much business as possible. So they will sell their labor much cheaper to advance their own position globally. And it's like, let's not always go for quantity. Can we do quality, people? Can we do quality? And if we had quality systems here, we would have a more robust industry. All right. I think that might be a good stopping point at this section. And then we come back. We'll have to do this little triangle section here, and then down onto this section. So there's not a lot of this sleeve left for the first detail layer. This is pretty good. First detail layer is coming out nice, if I do say so myself. Looking pretty good, if I do say so myself. Do I need a quick nap? I might have to take a power nap or something. With that plaid, we're just doing a grayscale, but there is a good bit of contrast in the grayscale, so it's not very difficult. But this is just gonna, a little bit time consuming with the pattern, and then the chunky stitching of the pattern creates those real defined lines that you can clearly see. So I would hate to just make everything solid like that when you can clearly see that those alternate patterns in the fabric. So just gonna take your time with it and do it the best we can. And it says coming out really good so far. And even with the skin tone, I think where am I so sleepy right now? I think the next detail layer might be able to wrap a lot of this stuff up. I think over the years I'm getting better at completing a piece with less layers, because I used to do like 4 layers. Now I can get away with like half of that. I can do like 2 layers of paint and be like, I'm good. All right, guys. Start turning some of this stuff off. I got those brushes cleaned up just now. We only use 4 brushes. We use two liners, a blender, and 1 square brush. Not a lot. So all those are clean. Let me turn this top light up. All right. Yeah, this thing is looking pretty good so far. It's going to be a lot of decent contrast in there, a lot of bright colors from the tree and the sky in the background. And like I say, just even the plaid pattern on the shirt really adds a lot more contrast to it. So this will be definitely a fun piece. Maybe another, what did I just drop? Oh, maybe another couple weeks at it. Believe it or not, like I say, that the last piece I did with the feet and the flowers took way longer than I thought, even though it was on a smaller canvas. Being zoomed in like that had a lot of details in it, and fortunately, the tree takes up a good portion of this piece, but it's so pushed far to the background that it's not going to have a lot of detail. So that's going to save us a lot of time. The wall is almost completely done, and I did a lot of knife work, palette knife on there, which saved a lot of time. And yeah, her skin tone was really easy. So even though this painting is twice as large as the last piece I did, and it's full detail. It's not like this. It's just a solid green or purple background. Like it's a full image, and it'll still probably take me less time to complete this than it did the last painting. We're not going to skip on the details, and we're not trying to rush through this thing. It's just, hey, that's how some pieces are, and that's why people are like, well, how long does it take to finish a painting? It all depends. Sometimes it just depends. Like I say, this piece is twice as big as the last one, and it'd probably take me half the time to do it. But always enjoy the process, and I'm just lucky that I was able to get all of these really good images taken a couple of months ago, because like I said, I have tons of work to do, tons of good stuff to work on, and just really having fun with all this stuff. So hey, I appreciate you guys chilling in the studio with me on this nice Sunday morning. We're right at 3 hours, so that's not a bad way to start the day. A little bit of art and education, and chilling in here with the YouTube family and my Instagram buddies. So appreciate it, Mizu. I hope you guys have a good day, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace. All right, out of here, Instagram. All right, guys. Bye.